Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday, December 16th Board of Supervisors meeting, last one of the year. And so we're coming together here, calling this meeting to order, and as customary, we'll start off with a moment of silence.
Yeah, there were many horrific acts of violence across the country, across the world, over the weekend and the early part of the week, and there are a lot of people hurting, a lot of people mourning, and a lot of communities that are really suffering right now. So we could dedicate our moment of silence to that and send our love and comfort and care to all these communities and families.
All right. Mr. Hale, can you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Sorry to put you on the spot. All right. Consideration of extra items not appearing on the posted agenda.
Chair, we have no extra items.
None? Okay. Approval of consent agenda, and as you may know, as customary, consent agenda items are passed in one swift motion, but if somebody wants to pull an agenda item, they can, and we will discuss it from the board or from the public. And it looks like we have 5.11 that will be pulled to a later date. Are there any others? I'll open it up to the public for anyone that would like to pull a consent agenda item. No hands in Zoom? All right. Well, with that, we'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 5.11.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Now we go on to our timed items, public input. So with public input, if you would like to come up and talk about something that is not on the agenda, please come up. You'll have 3 minutes. Please fill out one of the documents that are up front, and you can come up and spend your 3 minutes discussing with us what your concern is. Just know that we aren't able to provide commentary. We can, in fact, connect you with somebody or whatever department or whatever district supervisor area you're needing to help in. So with that, I'll open it up for public public input. If you want to come up to the microphone, we'll give you your 3 minutes. Yeah. All right. And just as a baseline, I wanted to make sure that I know sometimes people will get very passionate, and we try to keep it to the 3 minutes. Usually I'll let you spill over a little if need be, but we want to really stick to that 3-minute timeline if possible. Yes.
Well, good morning. How about that? Good morning. My name is Jackie Jordan, and I have been an in-home care provider here in Lake County since 2015. I am here today to urge the board to approve an adequate wage adjustment for caregivers in our upcoming contract. For many of us, it is becoming increasingly difficult to manage a household on our current wages. Despite these financial challenges, I continue to approach this work with profound dedication and heart. I understand our county has many important needs, but I ask you to take a moment to truly reflect on the responsibilities we shoulder every single day. We are the ones who ensure your loved ones live their later years with dignity, comfort, and respect in their own homes. We are the ones who turn off the stove when they forget, who make sure they're fed, and make sure they have something clean to wear. We are the ones who remind them of their appointments, make sure they get there safely, and make sure they take their prescriptions correctly and on time. We are the ones who find their misplaced items, clean up after accidents and incontinence, and who guide them through confusion and memory lapses. We are the ones who answer calls in the middle of the night when they are scared or lonely, who sit with them when no family has visited in a while. We are the ones who listen to their stories and worries and support them through grief, depression, and frustration. We are the ones who support them on their hardest days and hold their hand when they feel completely alone. I've described just a fraction of the care and responsibility we take on, so I have just one question for you. If you had to do our job at any hour every day, how much would you ask to be paid? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eleanor Hayes. I'm an IHSS worker. I am here to let you guys know I was here last time talking to you guys about my 92-year-old woman. Since it's really hard for me to save money and to do things that I have to do, my water heater went out, which cost me $800 out of my pocket. Then my car goes along and breaks down, my transmission. So now I'm stuck taking the bus, which is like maybe $5 a day to get back and forth, and I have to go there in the morning and at night, and I have to walk in the dark alone by myself to get to her. And sometimes she needs me to come extra times. It's just really hard to make what we're making and to be there to support our people that need us, need our help. And when we have unexpected stuff that pops up, like I said, my water heater, then my car like 2 weeks later, I can't afford both. I can't do it. So yeah, I got the water heater, but now I'm stuck without a car. So please consider it. Please, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Siva Jamala. You've seen me many times in the last 36 years. Every time we have a contract negotiation, we have to come before you over and over and over to get a reasonable wage. Why? If you kind of can pay their workers $19 an hour, what is wrong with Lake County? We're in better shape than Mendo. We are, so the numbers say we are. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Your last offer to us was very low, not even close to what it should be. We're getting paid 65 cents above minimum wage right now. Do you think that's fair for the kind of work that we do? Some of our people that we take care of have no family, no friends, no one that takes care of them. We are the only one. When we had COVID, guess what? We didn't stay home. We made sure our recipients were okay. And we don't get paid enough. We need a raise. And we need a fair raise. Because we're tired of having to come before you every time. It's like, what do you want us to do? Get down on our hands and knees and plead with you? Because I don't know what else to do with you. We ask, and you guys come back with unreasonable amounts of money. It's just an insult and a slap to our face that you even consider giving us such a low raise. 45 cents. I'm probably not supposed to say that, but I did anyhow. That's all you offered. 45 cents? Are you kidding me? We only get $17.15 now. That's 65 cents above minimum wage. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're the people that, 4 of you on that board, we helped you get elected. You wouldn't be sitting there without us. So why are you slapping us in the face and turning us away when we need a livable wage? The rent alone in Lake County has gone to $1,500 and up. You know, and we can't do that on ourselves. I'm 71 years old. I'm living on Social Security, and I have to work at IHSS 3 clients, 150 hours a month. Can you do that at 71? I shouldn't have to be doing it at 71, but you don't pay us benefits, so we don't get retirement. Our retirement is when we drop dead. So please, think twice when you get our next proposal before you say no and before you slap us in the face with 45 cents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Casey Malone. I'm a political organizer with the SEIU 2015. I am speaking because I was raised by a single mom who's a caregiver, and she needed a livable wage to provide for someone like me, who now gets to stand before you to fight for them. Disability is the only protected class that everyone could experience in their lifetime, whether they're born into it, whether they experience accident or injury, or if they have the graceful privilege of aging into a need to be given care by mostly women like these. When you get to that age, hopefully, if we pray that everyone gets to that age, you will hope that you will receive the kind of care that these women provide, and you will hope that they are compensated fairly for the work that they do. Because not only will it impact their lives, but it would impact your life as their recipient. There are roughly 2,000 of them in this county, and our IHSS is the largest employer here. By stimulating their support system, by giving them a livable wage, you stimulate the local economy. All of those small businesses that helped you get up there and elect you, that make up the roots of this economy. They need people like these caregivers to go spend at their businesses around the holidays. They can't do that right now because of the low wages that you guys are providing. They need more. It's not a question of if, they need more. They have to pay for their own children, their own families, their own homes. And they need to do this with dignity so that they can support the lives of the people who live and work here, especially those who have retired and gave their lives to this community. They deserve more too. It saddens me that the bargaining table is not met with higher standards right now. They deserve to be met with more than what they're receiving. So please come back to us with more. I know you can do more. They do more than they're paid for every day. They need more. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Vicki Osborne. I'm an IHSS career provider. We are very unhappy with the offer on the table from the county. As you can tell, you made the decision not to prioritize us and pay us wages that cannot keep up with the cost of living. Yet we are paid barely above minimum wage. We provide essential services to seniors, people with disabilities. Most of us in Lake County work multiple jobs and struggle to keep up with other bills. If you had a loved one who needed care, you would want them to have the best possible care that you can give them, wouldn't you? Your children? My kids, I want the best they can get. And if you did not work, if you did the work we do you want to be paid a respectful wage? There is over 2,400 providers in the county. We deserve better. So I got a little gift for you all. This one is for Bruno. We are Grinching you. You have been Grinched. Merry Grinchmas. And we hope you take these guys seriously. We have one for Bruno. One for Brad. One for Brad. One for Jessica. One for Helen Owens. And one for EJ Crandall. And then we have a gift for you all. It's a Grinch cookie jar. So when you eat out of it, you'll think of us as your low-wage paying people, because we're the largest employer in Lake County. Thank you.
Thank you.
What do we want? Contract. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Contract. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get And we will be back if we don't get it. Trust and believe.
I got it. I got it.
No, it's not going to them.
We'll see you guys.
All right, is there any public input on Zoom? Donna. You can unmute and
Hello, Donna Mackwitz, Clear Lake Oaks. Honorable Chair and members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak. After seeing last week's ag report and in light of the recent horse rescue incidents in High Valley and Clear Lake Oaks, I wanted to offer a suggestion for the county's consideration. Large animal emergencies, particularly involving horses, livestock, or other ag animals, present unique safety, logistical, and animal welfare challenges. These situations can be stressful, not only for the
can we
animals
take a
involved.
short break?
Yep.
Sorry, Donna. We're going to start you up again. We're going to take like a short break, like 2 minutes.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yes, and then when we come back, we will open up and let you start over. We have some loud noise in the hallway.
Okay,
We have
sorry.
a protest going on, so. Welcome back. We're going to continue back on to public input, and we had Donna Mackwitz online, and if you would like to unmute and start your comment over, you have the opportunity to go ahead.
Donna Mackwitz, Clear Lake Oaks. Honorable Chair and members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak. After seeing last week's ag report and in light of the recent horse rescue incidents in High Valley, Clear Lake Oaks, I wanted to offer a suggestion for the county's consideration. Large animal emergencies, particularly involving horses, livestock, and other ag animals, present unique safety, logistical, and animal welfare challenges. These situations can be stressful not only to the animals involved, but for the staff responding in real time and often under difficult conditions. I respectfully suggest that the county consider periodic large animal handling and emergency response training for animal control staff, both for new hires and experienced personnel. Even refresher level training can greatly increase comfort, confidence, and safety when responding to incidents involving frightened or injured large animals. The type of training could help reduce stress and injury to animals, support more efficient coordination with veterinarians, rescue groups, and property owners, provide reassurance to the community during high visibility emergencies. Given Lake County's strong ag presence and rural geography, this seems like a practical investment that aligns well with the realities staff face in the field. I offer the suggestion with appreciation for the difficult work animal control already does, often under challenging circumstances. My hope is simply that the additional training opportunities could further support staff and enhance outcomes for both people and the animals during emergencies. Thank you for your time and consider continued service to our community.
Donna, thank you. Any other public input? Leticia Guerrero, if you'd unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Sorry, I got a toddler here, but hello, Chair. Good morning, Board. My name is Leticia Guerrero. I'm at the table with the Lake County providers, and I am concerned about the lack of communication on your council's part. The last email I sent was on December 9th, and we still have not gotten a response. This is not just happening in your county. There's multiple counties where we're experiencing the same thing, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we have reached out to your council to get back to the table, and we have not gotten a response till today. But today I'm expressing profound frustration and disappointment regarding the county's approach to recent wage negotiations. The current staffing crisis across many county departments, including mental health services and IHSS, is a direct result of competitive wages. We're losing dedicated, passionate employees to neighboring counties that offer better pay and benefits. This high turnover rate negatively impacts the quality and consistency of essential services provided to our community's most vulnerable residents. It is incredibly frustrating to see negotiations stall or offers made that are disrespectful to our providers and the work that they do, not to mention that they do not adequately address the rising cost of living or match regional market rates. Your constituents and your employees are struggling to afford to live in their community that they serve in. This is unacceptable. We urge the board to prioritize employee retention by offering a fair and decent wage increase that aligns with market studies and the actual cost of living. We urge the board to negotiate in good faith to reach an agreement that values the essential work that's performed by these IHSS providers. And we ask that you please recognize that investing in these providers is an investment in the stability and quality of Lake County services. We do want to thank you for your time and consideration of this critical issue. And, I would just say, as the members express their Grinch, just stop being a Grinch that's stealing the caregiver's joy and their dignity. And that I believe that the only grotesque thing is the lack of care that you guys are taking seriousness to the situation at hand. Thank you.
Thank you. iPhone 17, if you can unmute.
Gailewa, Pillsbury Family Farm. The record now reflects a troubling pattern of conduct within the Community Development Department that threatens the integrity of the cannabis ordinance process and the department as a whole. On Thursday, December 11th of 2025, Senior Planner Mary Claiborne stated publicly that she consulted former CDD Director Scott DeLeon for regulatory interpretation regarding existing dates. It's very clear when staff must turn to former administrators for guidance, it signals that the current leadership is not providing it. It's not a minor issue, it's a leadership issue. This concern is not theoretical, and during the Poverty Flats appeal, Supervisor Tues Mtg confirmed that CDD is operating based on internal policies rather than an actual ordinance, specifically with respect to the scenic corridor setbacks. Another example is the use of body-worn cameras during the cannabis inspections and code enforcement inspections. In a willfully recorded meeting with Director Turner and Supervisor Crandall, we have witnessed Director Turner claim it was her staff's fear for personal safety to justify recording. Code Enforcement Manager Marcus confirmed that such an internal policy exists, and staff believes that local policy supersedes state law. The policy is not codified in any ordinance, and it remains informal and internal. This policy was presented to the board on August 5th of 2025, and COA Parker asked the board to pull item 6.10 for a later date to be determined, and it creates a serious problem. Internal policies are being used to guide actions that directly affect the public without clear legal authority, transparency, or accountability, and residents are being recorded in a legal gray area. And for the moment, that revealed the deepest concern that came from the director herself. On December 11th, she told the Planning Commission that if they did not provide input, she might be called in for closed session and shown the door. This statement was made while rushing to meet a deadline, rather than informing you that the cannabis ordinance hearing may need to be delayed due to the lack of agricultural department input, which this board specifically requested. A department head inserting her employment fears into quasi-judicial process is completely inappropriate. It placed pressure on the commissioners, and it compromised neutrality. No government committed to transparency should behave this way, and it's not an isolated incident. A director who rejects accountability, who directs applicants to unofficial remedies that are not authorized by ordinance, and who forms bias before verifying background check results. What core values are actually guiding CDD right now? Because nothing in the pattern that I've described reflects transparency, fairness, responsibility, or a shared value of public trust. Because on a normal day, our lived experience tells a very different story. Moleham.
Is there any other hands on Zoom? Roseanne?
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good morning, board. I am not there in person today. I'm the executive board for SAU 2015, and I'm also an IHSS caregiver, as I'm sure you guys are all aware. I was watching by Zoom because I'm not in town. I am actually working my third job, which nobody should have to work 3 jobs. I just took on my third job, and I'm doing exactly what IHSS does. However, I am making $1.85 more an hour, doing the very same job, same task. It also includes medical and dental, vacation, and a 401k. And it's the same exact work with my uncle. So I don't understand the difference. Why is your guys' proposal so much different from the other agencies? And this one's paying lower than the other agencies in Lake County. Some are paying up to $23 an hour. And I don't understand why. It's the same work. But I shouldn't have to work 3 jobs, and I am. I wish I was there with my members today because seeing them so upset just breaks my heart. And this is a time for giving cheer and spreading love, and I don't see it, and I'm just heartbroken. So I don't want to end this badly. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and please find it in your hearts to spread some holiday cheer. Thank you for your time.
No more hands in Zoom, so we'll go ahead and close public input and move on to our next item, which was Pet of the Week, but our Pet of the Week had to leave. So we'll move on to 6.3. Consideration of update on the transfer of Lake County Housing Commission to Regional Housing Authority. And this is presented by the Social Services Department, and I think she might be on Zoom. All right. Oh, sorry.
Good morning. I'm Teresa Schoen. I'm the program manager over CDSS Housing and HUD Housing for Social Services. And I'm here today representing Rachel Dillman Parsons, who cannot be here. So as you are aware, we have been working on a consolidation with the regional PHA, and that was hopefully going to go through in July. We moved to December, and then HUD shut down October 1st, and that shutdown has greatly impacted quite a bit that's going on with that move to regional. So right now, all of the different counties who are part of the region, which includes Yolo, Sutter, Colusa, and there's one more, I can't think of it off the top of my head, they all have to agree, and right now there are some lingering questions that they have, and so that is holding this up as well. So we are looking at a July 1 implementation date next year. Any questions?
Oh, go ahead, Supervisor Owen,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Supervisor Sabatier.
Yeah, just a quick question. This changes nothing for services through July 1st because nothing was being set up and prepared for that transition to happen in January to the point that we're going to lose on any of the services or
No.
those receiving services?
That will continue, and then it'll be a warm transition over. There will be no, services will not stop during that transition.
Thank you.
Oh, Rachel's here.
Rachel?
I am. I didn't have anything to add. Teresa covered it great. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'll open it up for public comment. With no hands in Zoom, we'll bring it back to the board and move to our next item on the agenda. Thank you for that. 6.4, consideration of the 2026 through 2030 County Road Pavement Preservation Work Plan, Public Works, and Director Lars Ewing and Jim Hale will be coming up. Alicia? No? Okay, well, I guess they're not. Just Lars is coming up. All right.
All right. Well, good morning, board. While this is getting loaded up, I'll do some introductions. It would be the PowerPoint. Yeah, that one's good. That's good. So a few introductions. Lars Ewing, Interim Public Works Director, joined by 3 members of the Public Works Department staff here for support as needed. They each represent specific, I'll say, divisions or focus areas in the department. Jim Hale, I'll say on the operations side, Jim Hale, Road Superintendent. We also have Alicia Ayala on the Deputy Director for Finance and Admin. She's on the financial side, and Ingrid Tassell on the engineering side. She is an assistant engineer with Public Works. So appreciate their assistance and really their drive and their the time preparing this agenda item. So I was, when your board appointed me as interim director in June, I would say pavement preservation and the road network is priority one. I would suggest. That's simply an interpretation, not from a consensus or any formal statement from your board, but just a general awareness of the Public Works Department and the road network. Along with that, I've been made aware in my time with Public Works of a couple of presentations over the last 2 or 3 years that have been provided that may have come across as pavement management plans and may have come across as an actual plan that was going to be implemented and may have been either misrepresented or misinterpreted. So what we did is went kind of back to the drawing board and figured out, okay, what are we actually going to do? What can we do over the next 5 years? So I worked with primarily with Jim Hale and he worked with his 3 road foremen, who between the 4 of them, it's probably over 100 years of road work experience. And so that's where the bulk of the driver behind this comes from. So I think what we'll do I have the slide here if I just drive through? Okay, so what we're gonna do is just walk through a plan. I'm calling it a realistic and financially constrained plan. That may be financially the wrong term in the accounting world, but I'm saying it is a financially viable plan. So for a quick update on what we have, county maintained roads. So what is the world that we live in? The road network in the county, 612 miles of roads. You can see that includes 125 bridges, and I do not have a mouse, so I can't move that out of the way. But thank you. Oh, there's the mouse. I'm sorry. I can. Thank you. So in addition, of those 612 miles, 464 miles are paved and 148 are unpaved. The focus of this presentation is the 464 miles of paved roads. The road condition, in road conditions, roads are typically rated on a scale of 0 to 100, 0 being worst, 100 being best. And the last pavement management assessment formal that the county completed through Lake Area Planning Council was in 2022, and the county's pavement network, the PCI, again, Pavement Condition Index, was 34, which you can see on the bottom. That scale is in the poor range. So how we do it, this summarizes how we address, how we tackle the road network. Road department is a crew of 28. We break the county down into 3 road yards, Lower Lake, Upper Lake, and Kelseyville. We also have Central Garage is a key player. That is our heavy equipment, the maintenance of that, along with paint and sign. Not included here is bridge, but that's a key component as well. Equipment, we listed the equipment there. That's above and beyond that. We have does not list every single light duty truck and trailer, but that lists the equipment how we attack pavement management. Again, how we do it. Work is planned and non-planned. Service requests, we receive requests for service from members of the public, from your board, from a variety of sources. We also respond to emergency responses, whether it's storm damage, there might be an accident that causes damage on a roadway. So emergency response is another method. Routine maintenance. So we are going out clearing culverts as much as we can, and drainage areas, pothole patching that isn't on a service request basis, Durapatching, signs, striping. So this is the bulk of where the work really hits, where those 28 crew members day in, day out are handling the routine maintenance. The last bullet point, capital improvement projects, and I'll jump back to the pavement preservation because that's really the driver here. Capital improvement projects are your large projects that are not typically done in-house, I would say, so typically contracted out. Pavement preservation, though, the second to last bullet, is the focus of this presentation. And the presentation focuses on work that we anticipate the county road crew completing. There's other work that we plan to do that is not a part of this plan. The focus was to, as the interim director, let's see what we can do with our staff, because that's where we get the most bang for our buck. So that was a good segue, bang for our buck. Let's talk about funding. And by the way, as we go through here, you're going to see photos. I should have commented on the very first slide. These are photos, after project photos from the 2025 chip seal project. So, we want to celebrate their work and show what we get with their efforts in the field. So, funding sources, and I'm going to start by saying these are funding sources for annual regular work. So that routine maintenance, all the stuff on the couple of slides before, service requests, emergency response, routine maintenance, pavement preservation projects. All of those that's the focus area that I'll be talking about. Capital improvement projects, for the most part, are unique funding sources. So I'll jump back where I was. And I apologize for the line through, but the very last point on here is grants and other miscellaneous programs. Those are, those ebb and flow, and that's not the focus of this. So really wanted to highlight where the money comes from for us to handle on a day-to-day basis our road network. First and foremost, HUDA, Highway User Tax Account. Essentially, that's gas tax coming in, goes to the state, by the way, first, and is distributed back to counties and cities on a formula allocation basis. Doesn't matter how much money is spent or not spent within Lake County. It's entirely reliant on how much is spent statewide. And the formulaic approach that's based on a number of factors, road miles, I believe, with population, it might even factor in vehicles in the county, registration. So moving on to the next item there, what we call SB1, Road Repair and Accountability Act, passed in 2017. This was new to me. Your board may be aware that over a decade ago, I was with the Public Works Department, and this was not a source of funding at that point in time, and it is very significant. It is based on fuel taxes, but also vehicle registration fees, and you'll note that there are no numbers associated with this. The following slides will talk about that. But SB1 is specific to pavement preservation. It's also tied to specific projects that county staff and your board approve, but we certainly have a lot of discretion with that, and your board does. But it does have to be tied to specific projects. But it is, I would say, it's very flexible with respect to that. The next item, RSTP, Regional Surface Transportation Program. Again, federal gas tax dollars that come in, and then property taxes, local property taxes. So the next slide talks about how much on an annual basis we tend to receive. In green, I'll start with HUDA, Highway User Tax Account. Is about 43% of the annual amount that we receive, and these are round figures, recognizing that. So $3.5 million for HUDA, SB1, $2.7 million. This varies year in, year out, but on average, 2.7, maybe $3 million coming in. Property taxes, $1.1 million. And the RSTP, the Surface Transportation Program, a little under $1 million. So annually, about $8 million. Now, where do we spend that money? We broke this down into three categories. One is routine operations and administration. So 70% of the budget goes to handle the day in, day out work that staff does. And so right off the top, we're talking about wages. We're talking about services and supplies. We're talking about equipment, and it's Durapatching, it's signs, it's repairs. So day in, day out, going out and addressing the work on the roads. In orange, pavement preservation projects, and by the way, when we talk about how it's spent, but also generally where the funding is coming from. Routine operations and administration, essentially HUDA, RSDP exchange, and property taxes. Just with routine operations and administration, those funding sources are depleted. And so the purpose of this slide is to demonstrate how reliant we truly are on SB1 for pavement preservation and also capital improvement projects. It is important to note that if we have a bridge project that maybe it requires a local match, or some other capital project, some other program that requires a local match, SB1 can be used. Or if we approach a project in and of itself with SB1 funds, that's we're reliant on that. So SB1 is very, very critical. So pavement preservation projects. Again, this picture worth highlighting. What you're looking at there is your road crew in action. The left side shows a very thin leveling course of asphalt. The right side shows the gravel or chips having been placed, and the oil spreader is spreading oil, and behind him is what we call the chip cart, and it's placing the chips on that leveling course. And so it's this is relatively new equipment. The chip cart was bought, I think, a couple of years ago. The oil, by the way, the oil truck and the application of that is contracted out, and that's a very common operation. But the chip cart is worth highlighting because that we're going to celebrate that because of what that has allowed us to get done, along with the hard work of the crew and the technology that comes with it. So we're going to start. I know this is a look ahead, but I think it's important to look back first. So between 2020 and 2024, this is the pavement preservation work that was completed. On average, about 17 miles per year. When they completed the work, we were not factoring in the years that they did not. So 2020 and 24, you can see that there was work was not done. Now there was some preparatory work being done in those off years, but you can see 17 miles on average when they're doing chip seal work. Shown on the screen, it's you see the dark gray lines. That's where they completed the work. So you can see that it is spread out around the county. Now we'll move ahead to this past year, and the highlight there is 38.5 miles of roads chip sealed. So over double what they've done in years past. The work that's completed, it's important to note that it's more than just the chip seal. It's more than just that picture that we showed. It includes preparation. So we're talking about drainage improvements along the roads that are going to be improved. Doing some dig outs. So any road repairs necessary before we place the chip seal, and then a thin leveling course as necessary for whether it's rideability or maybe even just leveling it out so that we don't have as many undulations, is a simple way to say that. Then the surfacing, that's a single chip seal. For a road that already has pavement, a single chip seal is what we're placing down with a fog seal. Essentially, that's a very light coat of sprayed asphalt emulsion that shows that, really helps to bind things together, and then finishing with striping. So total project miles, again, 38.5 miles. The cost, we're at about a 1.6 million. The cost for that, by the way, is those are material costs. That does not include staff costs, because we're paying for them regardless, is the way that's already embedded in other budget units. So this is materials and contract costs. When we factor in what did it cost us this year? What was our rate per mile? And we're looking at about almost $42,000 per mile to do a chip seal project. Now, some roads require more leveling and more work than others, and so this averages it out for all the ones that require a lot of work. There are some that are pretty straightforward. So on average, you can look at about $42,000 a mile. for some pictures of before and after for this year. This first slide shows three slides or three pictures per road. So Soto Bay Road in the first, going from left to right. You can see Soto Bay Road there. And again, these are all taken from the same vantage point. So Soto Bay Road before on the left, in the middle is when the chips have been placed, and on the right is the after photo. Similar with Point Lakeview Road. And the photos that we're showing, we're not just showing the best. We're trying to show some roads that may not have been in great condition, and even some that, when we're done, they're not going up to a 100% perfect solution. But we're doing our best to preserve the system that we have. So Lake Street, you can see there. Now I'm removing the center intermediate slide, but Bonham Road, you can see in shadows may not do it justice, but it's in a poor state, or was, and with the chip seal, we're taking care of the cracks, and we did some prep work to handle, say, that pothole that might have been right in the front. We're not just placing chips right over that. There's a lot of prep work that's done. Live Oak Drive, similar, along with Big Bear Road. And again, you can see on the right on Big Bear Road, this is one where we don't place striping. And it may not be up to a 100 PCI even after, but the cracks are addressed, and the prep work before helps that road to last quite a bit longer. So now we get to the plan for the next 5 years. I think what you're not going to see on here is a list of roads. We have a list of planned roads, but things can change. We might need to move one road or not do another road, and so I don't want to be bound by that road when we're talking about something 5 years from now. The way that we approached this is by region. The road crew, as we mentioned, they are broken down into 3 different areas around the county, but they are one road crew. And so when it comes to a pavement preservation project, the chip seal project, they're joining forces, they're getting together, and it's all one crew. And so we get a whole lot more efficient work when we are doing work in one general area in one given year. Another benefit to that is placement of chips, placement of materials where we don't have to travel as far, and also for contracting out for the oil cart. So the plan for the next 5 years, we're looking at 155 miles of chip seal, a little over 30 miles per year. The estimated cost per mile, we bumped it up to $50,000. You might this year it was $42,000 per mile. So there's going to be some cost escalations. So that $50,000 is the average over 5 years. If we were to assume, I believe what I used is a 6% escalation per year for material and contract costs. So average cost per year, $1.5 million. Total projected cost, just under $8 million. And I realize that there's a lot on this slide, and there's going to be some interest of, okay, when is my road going to be done, and when is this area going to be done? And I certainly recognize the importance of that, but looking at it from a network perspective, from a system perspective, to maximize our road network, this is the plan that the road superintendent and his staff feel is best suited for the infrastructure that they maintain.
Can I ask a question on that map?
Sure.
What does purple represent for year? I'm not seeing it.
Let's see. That's a good point. Ingrid, do you recall what? 2031. Okay, yeah, that should not have been on there. Thank you. Yep. And by the way, green, the outer green is the boundary of the county. That is not a road. Let's make sure that we call that out. Okay, projected results. What are we getting out of this? Each year, what this shows is the average pavement condition index for the roads that either were or are going to be or proposed to be chip sealed and preserved. So let's look back a bit between 2020 and 2024. The average PCI of the roads that were chip sealed in that time frame before it was a PCI of 57. Right now, based on our assessment, it looks to be a 92. In 2025, what we just did this year, before it was a 39, after it's a 97. That's not 100 because there are some roads that even after chip sealing them, they may be a 90. So on average, 97. So you're going to see with the next 5 years, the PCI increasing, and that makes sense. Of the roads that we plan to do each year, we're going to get them up to be in good condition. But what does that do? What does that mean for the overall network? And we're coming to the end of the presentation. Our forecast is that at the end of this 5 years, that we would bring the average the PCI across the board for the county from 35 up to 48 after 10 years now, or excuse me, 5 years. It's encouraging. It also builds in a degradation of each road. I think we used a degradation of 3 points per year, 3 PCI points per year that it would degrade. And even with that, we are showing an increase of our PCI, which is encouraging. This also does not factor in other capital improvement projects that might be done through contract, or even other pavement preservation projects that we do by contract, because our road crew, while they are doing amazing work and they can do amazing work, there's also a bandwidth issue. 31 miles is probably, obviously we can do 40, but that was a lot of prep work in 2024 when there was not a chip seal project. So 31 is probably on the end of where we can go with the staff that we have. But there's nothing saying that we can't pursue contract chip seal projects. We get more bang for our buck with our crew, and that's where I'd like to maximize it. But coming back to some of those other slides with funding, there is funding within SB1, and that's where we want to spend our money, preserving our infrastructure rather than I'd say building new. So that wraps it up, and I'm sure there are plenty of questions, and I appreciate staff being here to help me answer them.
Supervisor Owen?
Okay, can you please go back to the slide with the projected that one right there? Okay, before I came in, my understanding was that they were supposed to be going by district around the county, is that correct? And we were supposed to start originally in EJ's district where the PCI was the lowest. And it got changed, and now we have 2 years worth of money spent in Jessica's district, in District 5. And we have her before, we have 2026, we have up at the north end of the lake. I'm way down for Middletown area, and District 1 is way down in the 31 and 18. And we need to look at some other districts. I know that EJ and I both need some attention in our districts early on.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, and relying on the road crew for their familiarity with the road network, with the road system, and what prep work has already been done, and also what other work is being done in the areas outside of, say, District 5. This is not based on any preference or priority for one district or another. This is looked at from a network perspective, and when the road superintendent has because the road superintendent has responsibility for all roads, there's no one road or one road area that has priority over others. But for planning purposes, this is what they felt was the best approach. So that's the best answer that I have for you.
We just need we need to have these other areas attended to as well. And early on, we've been waiting. We were told next year, the following year. Jim, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, Jim, please come up.
Just real quick, this previous year, we did 22 miles in District 1. Years prior, we did Sulphur Bank, New Long Valley, High Valley for District 3. The following year in 26, we were doing everything in North Lakeport and in some District 3. So District 4 and District 3 are going to get chip seal done as well. So we are spreading it around, and it is coming to each district. So, but yeah, we did 22 miles. So Point Lakeview, everything in Lower Lake, you saw Big Bear,
Yeah.
Lake Street,
Sure.
all that was Lower Lake District 1.
We just have some other areas, and I see that we're popping back to District 5 in 2027 when we haven't been to the others.
So that was just the rotation. The rotation this year was District 1. We fell back to District 5 to make it a joint project because of 2024. If you saw on the previous slide, we did no chip seal. We were in preparation for this chip seal and the preparation work for Cobb.
Okay, how many miles did we get in District 1?
I believe you got 22 miles this year.
22 miles?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I know that like out Big Canyon where we've hit, when they're grading, we've hit the lines. I know I need that one, that area done because we've hit the sewer lines
Yes, ma'am.
in the road. So I just want to make sure, and I know EJ has some of the worst.
I'll go in a minute, but I see
Okay.
that Jessica wants to go and then Bruno wants to go after, so go ahead.
Well, first, a lot of that Big Valley is actually in District 4 too. So there is some work that was done in Kelseyville, but it was pretty much spread. So maybe it would be good to look at, was it 37 miles last year?
38 and a half.
38 and a
Well,
half.
this year. Yeah.
But anyway, I know we've also got capital improvement projects coming, which are not part of what the road crew, right?
Right.
Is going to be doing. And so what are those projects and where are those areas?
Well, not prepared to answer that because we wanted to focus on the road crew.
Okay.
Right. And there are some other projects that, East Lucerne Cutoff, Bottle Rock Road, working on some. In fact, Bottle Rock and East Lucerne are shown on here, and Jim's crew will be addressing those for the most part. But there are some sections that are beyond a chip seal, and so we need to and beyond the ability for us to wait for the road crew with the staff that we have to spread it out. When we talk about 31 miles per year and a network of 464 miles, that you do some quick math, you're talking about once every 14 years or so. So we need to find a way to bridge the gap. A typical chip seal. Jim has told me that he's gone out and looked at roads that he has chip sealed, or his crew chip sealed about 10 years ago, and by and large they're holding up. With new technology, with that new chip spreader that is allowing us to get a lot more done, they are holding up. But 14 years is I would say pushing the limit for a recurrence. So we need to find a way to bridge that gap. Capital projects would come into mind, but also pavement preservation projects by contract is another opportunity that we have. That Jim and I haven't had that conversation because we're I'm a few months into this here, and we're looking for opportunity to have the road crew do the majority of the work and maximize our dollars. But that is an opportunity.
Okay. And so, what I understand that you're kind of zooming out and looking at the network needs, but is there criteria that you're using? Like, are you looking at PCI? Are you looking at traffic counts? Like, how are you figuring out which areas of the network need the most love?
Yeah, this was more of a boots on the ground, and I'll defer to Jim for at a large scale answer to that. But it was not a methodical. Let's put it into a formula and have a computer spit out the answer. This was more, Jim, you and your road crew know the roads, whether the ADT is 1 or the ADT is 1,000. It's pavement that needs to be maintained, and we risk losing it. So it was more about maintaining the infrastructure that we have. So Jim, if you want to add to anything there, I'm happy to have you.
No, you're spot on with that answer. It's more problem areas, and I know every district has their problem areas. So we rely on the area supervisors, our area foremen, to where are they having the most issues? Where are they having to go fill potholes every year? Where can we make a difference and focus on those roads to do a chip seal that will give us 7 to 10 years of lifespan without having to pothole every day or throughout the whole winter. So we look at those, and then a lot of these, with the 3 area supervisors and myself, it's a lot of roads that we have never seen anything done on, and we wanted to accomplish something on these roads while we're here and get something started like this kind of a program. So
I think it makes a lot of sense to focus on the roads that get a lot of use, like Soda Bay Road, that makes a big difference. But in the reports in the past, the Rivieras were in there, and now I don't see them even in the next 6 years. So
they're coming to a slide soon. they will be coming into the program.
Okay.
So.
Supervisor Sabatier.
Thank you for the presentation. I think that it's definitely missing the capital improvement conversation as far as getting the big picture, but I think this is a really good start. Appreciate the work that you and your crew did, Mr. Hale. Amazing. I've been driving around Lower Lake quite often, every single day, in fact. It's great. Fortunately, it took a little bit of time. The weather wasn't really partnering with you very well, so you had to postpone. But the fact is, the results are exactly what we're looking for. When is the next PCI study being done? I think it's every 3 years. When is the next one?
Typically, it is every 3 years. It's going to be in 2026. Lake APC is preparing Lake Area Planning Council, which is the, as your board is aware, but just for the public, it's the Regional Transportation Planning Agency on behalf of the county. They are putting together a request for proposals for that in collaboration with the 3 jurisdictions locally. So that will be going out here shortly. So I would expect that the work will be done in 2026, nearing the end of 2026. If I could also just come back to the capital project piece. If I were to present a capital project presentation for pavement preservation, which is what we're focused on here, based on the work plan that we have for capital projects, it would be very slim. To be perfectly honest, the pavement or the capital projects that Public Works is working on is primarily bridges, which does not factor into pavement preservation. It also includes some quite a few storm damage repairs, which again, there are improvements to the road in that 1/10 of a mile area where there's a slide that we're repairing, but it does not factor in to the capital or to the pavement condition index. So where the next step is okay, what funding do we have? What surplus funding do we have from SB1? If the road crew is spending $1.5 million per year, and if we bring in on average 2.7 million of SB1 funds, then in theory there's $1.2 million per year that we have to budget and spend appropriately. Now, if that means matches for bridge projects or storm damage projects, that's one area that it can go to. Another one is planning, which we currently don't have on a capital project side, and that is pavement preservation projects for capital. So you're right. It's not there, but I also wanted to emphasize that the majority of the capital projects that we have are non-pavement preservation.
And I appreciate that, and I think that we got to do what we can with what we have, but we need to also figure out how to get to where we want to be. Because while I appreciate that things like Lake Street was double chip sealed, I think arterials and collectors should be fully rehabbed to make them last as long as possible, because the amount of traffic that they get, a double chip seal will go much faster on a Lake Street than it would on like Bonham. Or like to me, a residential street makes perfect sense to double chip seal, but collectors and arterials, especially if there are evacuation routes, I would like to see how we can get them up to par, but you don't have the money. And so it's not an issue of you didn't do what we would like you to do. You just don't have the ability to do it because we don't have the money. And so one of the things that it's easy for me to say, because there's absolutely nothing in District 2, and I don't expect and will not ask because that would be stupid. There is a cost to road work that we need to put away our differences as district supervisors and really just look at it from a county perspective. If all the work is being done in one district, yes, we need to have that conversation and say that should not be happening. But there is a certain level of PCI where if it drops below, it gets that much more costly to repair and preserve than if we just say, no, we need to spread the love everywhere, where at that point we may not be using our dollars to the greatest extent that we want. And so I think getting the latest and greatest on the PCI study is going to help us know where to start with that, and then better understanding on where exactly we need to focus. I think it's a great start, but I hear it and I feel it also that sometimes there may be some focus, but we have to really focus on, we only have this much money. What are we going to do to make sure our roads look the best and feel the best? And in the long run, I think it's also an economic development where less people are choosing to pay for the repairs on their cars and choosing to pay for things at our stores. And so, and that brings in more retail, that brings in more people that want to be here if there's more disposable income for those types of things. Not to say that I don't want people to shop at our mechanic shops or our tire shops. But we need to talk about where we're going to find more money. And we need to bring back that conversation. We had directed, not you, but our prior director, to start looking at a sales tax initiative. It's not going to happen for next upcoming year. It's way too late in the game to get something on the ballot, but we still need to have that conversation because that money is only going to get smaller and smaller. The HUDA's going smaller, SB1 may get smaller, and we're missing out on dedicated funds for self-help counties that if we do pass a specific tax for roads, we're missing out on at least $500,000 a year. And over the course of many years, that's millions of dollars that we're missing out on that we can put back into our roads. So I would love to see that conversation come back to the board. That is not on you for why it has not come back. But I just want to bring it up because I think we can't talk about roads without talking about the lack of funding to get to where we want to be without bringing up what are the options and what are the opportunities. We had asked for something, it hasn't come back, and I'd like to put it back on the table.
When I came on board, maybe to put a positive spin on this SB1. I mean, I was shocked at how I had no awareness of it, having been out of the road world for a while. I was happy to see that this is a source of funding that when I was 10 years ago there, we would have just been doing jumping jacks. That we're getting how much per year, and it's rather discretionary. So while we always could use more money, I think we're blessed to be in a position where we have, to be quite honest, we have more money coming in per year than I can give to Jim and his crew to complete in that year for pavement preservation, and that's a good spot to be in.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, I just wanted to compliment the department on the great work that was done this year. I appreciate that we're trying to do a lot of stuff in-house. I think that definitely is a big benefit, and hopefully we can keep doing that. I know I personally got a lot of compliments from community members about what they saw out there, so just want to say I appreciate that, and thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I know this has evolved for the past couple of years. It went from 5-year plan to 10-year plan to plan by the previous Public Works Director, and I also know too that in discussing with Jim that at times there's some roads that will be rotated aside from what's been listed here. Like, is that still in the plan? Like, for example, let's say that you're working on a specific area and there is another road that you could possibly do or has an issue. Are you still going to rotate, or is it just going to all be focused in one area?
According to this plan, it'll be mostly focused in one area, but like 2029, you can see all of Lucerne is shaded green.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Elk Mountain to CC Camp, Middle Creek, and then all of East Road and Bachelor Valley in that area. So we're still moving. If that's I guess that's your question. I mean, we're still going to move. It's not just going to be area specific as far as the maintenance area. Yes, it'll be area specific.
Because I think, of course, this is a previous plan, a previous director, et cetera. But in that terminology, I think it had to do with the work that was planned to be done was going to be done by contractors, I think was what it was. And even Scott De Leon said that too.
Yeah, let me offer this, that in 2022 and 2023, there were two plans presented to your board. In 2022, it was a 5-year work plan. Maps were shown, roads were listed. And the cost to do that work over 5 years was $84 million. So it was not a work plan. It was a hope and a dream, to be perfectly honest. Then in 2023, there was another presentation that changed, that went from 5 years to 10 years. As I understand it, direction from the board to the Public Works Director was, hey, we want to see 10 years. We want to plan this out even further. And so the work plan that was presented in 2023 that, very similar to this in the sense that you saw maps. Those maps were a hope and a dream. I'm being perfectly blunt. That cost was $102 million over 10 years. So my plan today was realistic. That was my goal, was to present something that did not just say, okay, what do we need to do to get our PCI up to 50? That's what those work plans presented. And numbers be darned, finances be darned, and so a presentation to say, here's what we need. It was an awareness, I think, to your board to be aware of truly the cost. If you want the road department to get the network up to 50, here's what it's going to cost. And so while maps are shown and probably embedded in many people's memory is that's what we're going to do, that was not what those presentations were intended to do.
Okay.
In PCI studies, I know those were done before as well. And we had a low amount collaboratively. They did basically a, what do you call that, a county average. And then when I think there was another one done, they actually looked at it from a district standpoint. And, I'm sorry, everyone else, but I just had to remind that my district is like the lowest. Not saying it takes precedence or anything like that. I think it should be a mixture of every, in a perfect world, yeah, I'd love my whole district to be paved. I think all of us would. But at the same time, I know that there's specific roads that really just need attention. And I'm sure in other districts as well, and in mine. So I wouldn't have too much of an issue if we were going in a circular, not circular, but if we were not just doing one area or whatever, because there's some that I think just need attention. I think it's like triage. But I'm only mentioning that because I just, I don't know. I think I like the area it's at, but I also see Lucerne. I know Clear Lake Oaks was somewhat done before, and just knowing that too. I know that you said you needed Rivieras or something like that, and is that the one you mentioned?
Well, I just brought it up because it's not on the map any longer, and it sounds like there's a plan for it. But the Soda Bay corridor is the highest used road, and so it makes sense that was the focus rather than the neighborhood streets. I just didn't know what the plan was for that because there are some really, really bad roads in those neighborhoods.
Yeah, and again, in any previous, when we say that was
those were hopes and dreams.
With $100 million, it would have been done. And
I think that's where I'm just saying this because also in my town councils, it was brought to us as if it was something that could happen. So I also want to talk this through also so that the folks that were in those meetings hear some of that, but also know that there is a plan in place now. It's a lot, as you could see, I noticed the cost per mile is a lot different than what it was in the other presentations and whatnot. And it's actually something that your crew is, more trained to do, capable of doing. It does look more realistic, so I mean, I only bring up the PCI just to make sure we kind of understand that aspect of it, which you do. Does this include any types of bridges, or is this just focusing specifically on roads?
Just roads.
Okay.
This presentation does. I mean, our department obviously focuses on roads as well, but this presentation is focused on just the pavement portion.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm fully satisfied with what's on there. I don't have issues if you need to do other roads too in the meantime. And then even when you do the other projects in different areas, if there's a couple roads you can do in mind during that time frame, I'd appreciate that too. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there that that way no one's really left abandoned, if that makes any sense, during a specific year. So I hope that makes some sort of sense. So yeah.
Thank you.
Any other? Supervisor Owen.
Okay. Again, I didn't say thank you, and I should have said thank you. So I do appreciate what you're doing. I was just a little disappointed that it was coming back into District 5 before we got to some of the other districts. So that's my concern. The orange, I'd like to see that move down a little bit. The road tax, I had actually brought forward early on, like February, March, something like that. And I had talked to Glenn about it in probably May, April or May, finding out where we were. And apparently, now, Susan, do you know, he had stated that it was with admin to do the survey. Was it you guys? Okay, because that's what I was told by him. He said it wasn't in his hands yet. So I'm not sure who does the survey to see what was acceptable and where the appetite might be for 1/2 cent, 3/4 cent, 1 cent. But that is something, and I knew that we missed the date on bringing that back for this next, and I don't know if the timing's right either, but that's something we really should be looking at too, to be able to handle the financials of what our roads are needing.
Okay. I was not, as the interim director.
No, I know you weren't.
as Being a point of emphasis, but if it's the consensus of the board, if the direction of the board to look into that, I will offer that 13 years ago through Lake APC, but primarily through the Public Works Department, we did we did look into that. It's not an insignificant investment of time for staff to look into that. I didn't see Susan's answer on whether admin had it, but we can. Okay, no, all right. So it is an effort. So we will if that's the board's direction, then that's what staff will do. It does we need to look into polling. We need to identify what work is being done, and so yeah, it's not as straightforward as let's put something on the ballot.
And I know that this, like I said, the timing might not be right now, but I think the way it's brought forward is going to have a lot to do with what the answer is going to be, the way it's asked. When I've talked to people about it at meetings and different places, they were, of course, opposed to any tax until you explain to them that this opens the gate for us to receive funding from the state and federal government, because we're then a self-help county. So for every dollar it would be a sales tax is what we were looking at. And for every dollar that we collect, of course, it triples roughly. And so when people understood that, it was much easier to get them on board. Just
Okay.
a little information.
I'll need to look into that a little bit. I'm not aware of any tripling simply by being self-help. So I'll look into that on with other counties.
Supervisor Sabatier?
I think we just need to reboot. I think we need to time it right. I think you need to keep doing what we've seen the last year, which I think builds public trust, because you can't pass anything without public trust. I think sharing what we plan to do and then showing that we did what we planned is the way that you build public trust, and it's going to take a little bit of time so that we're ready to move that forward. So I think we need to hit reboot, but we have to get to a point where we don't politicize roads, because if we have people in here yelling for this district needs this district needs that, we're going to lose the public trust when a district doesn't get. We have to show the reasons why we're focusing on roads, because the cost is going to get that much more if we don't do something about that road. The PCI is that, and so I think we just need to have a way to present this that makes sense as to why we're doing what we're doing, because the more we try to rile people up and get them angry, the less we're ever going to get more funding to be able to do what we actually need to do. So again, I think we're on the right track. I appreciate the presentation. Keep up the hard work. The more we do in-house, and I say this and I know it sounds kind of bad, the cheaper it is than paying for a contractor.
Economical.
It's economical, thank you. And let's make sure we use that to our fullest advantage and look at what more we can do and keep doing what we're doing. So.
I forgot one question.
Supervisor was next.
I'm sorry.
Well, actually, my comments were pretty much in line with what Supervisor Sabatier was saying, is that we had several years where no work was done or minimal work. And this year, so much trust was built. So many people saw your crew out there doing the hard work and really accomplishing a lot. And that's a big effort that went a long way to building that trust, which we need to continue to do over the years. And you really are targeting those most used roads, and I do appreciate that you're looking at it network-wide. And that's why it makes sense, other than Lucerne, it looks like it's mostly the main connecting roads and the arterial roads, and that makes a lot of sense because that is where the most people drive. So I think we're off to a good start too. We're not really here to have the tax conversation, but I do know that those conversations were had with a tax collector and auditor, and maybe that's a good follow-up direction for you to meet with them and get their thoughts.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have something else?
I did. I wanted to ask, the red dot down there on the blue, is that the Morgan Valley issue?
No, ma'am, that's CSA that we have to do this coming year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's worth talking about. The countywide service areas, there were quite a few that were established in 2006, 2007, and they had a 20-year duration, and the county basically as the contractor of the work has a requirement to complete chip seals.
Off of Spruce Grove Road.
That's
All right.
So yeah, that's one of your few miles.
Right. And so just, yep, again, I appreciate it. And I know that, Jim, you've rode around with me and I showed you the roads and I know you understood and the department understands. I talk to the road crew out of Upper Lake all the time when I can and appreciate the work they do. I know they work in other stations and you all have your road crews out there as well in their stations and they do really good work for what they, not only get paid to do, but what they have to deal with, so. I appreciate that as well, and I'm going to go ahead and open it up for public comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody want to come up and comment on this presentation? And state your name for the record, and we'll give you
Wes
3 minutes.
Baker, and I'll be real fast. I just want to thank them, the county, for your road crew. That I live on Winchester, and for the last 3 years, every car going to the high school in and out was on that little tiny, and that was just an oil and chip road at one time. Now it's a really nice road, and also in support of us doing the work ourselves, is that crew, generally, I'm from the Bay Area, and the cities and stuff would do their own work down there on the streets, and dog it all out with lots of trucks sitting around, a lot of people saying, this crew that you got right now, man, those guys are a well-oiled machine. And I've been in construction all my life, and I've seen lots of the big pavers from down in the Bay Area and in other states too. And you guys got it going on. Those guys, when you see a crew and they don't even have to talk to each other, and it just keeps a machine going down the street, that's because everybody knows what they're doing. And they did a beautiful job. And very courteous too, very, very courteous. I just want to thank you.
All right, thanks for that. There's not any other public comment on Zoom? I'll bring it back to the board, and let's see, I think this is,
Can I say one final?
yes, go ahead. Presentation.
And you've got winter work ahead of you too. So we're going to see your crews out there all through the next several months doing the emergency and urgent work that in response to storms and weather. And so, thank you ahead of time for all that, those long hours that we know are coming.
All right. With that, I think, Lloyd, did you just click?
It's me.
Susan?
Oh,
go ahead.
wait.
Oh,
I was
please.
waiting.
No, please, go ahead.
Well, since Director Ewing is in the hot seat right now, his item 7.4, you might want to take up before the 10:30 item.
Okay, well, let's do that.
Thank you,
We'll go ahead and close that portion of the agenda. Thank you again for that information and report. I know it's very helpful to know what we're planning for the next year and years to come, of course. And I want to make sure that we keep the same trajectory since we've reported it. I know before there's been other, like the hopes and dreams that you're talking about. But, a lot of our folks, a lot of us kind of were attached to it. But I think now we know that this is coming forward, and I hope we can stay on task for that.
Can I follow up on that?
Yes.
One little comment. And following on that is we had asked for many years if we could start the year with understanding what's going out to bid for that year and what the planned projects were sometime around our governance workshop, so that we were all really clear, we are all very clear, and we can communicate to our constituents what the plan is for this construction season. It would really be helpful.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, we'll close that portion of the agenda, move on to 7.4. Consideration of contract change order number 3 to the contract with Argonaut Constructors Incorporated for the 2024 pavement rehabilitation project for an increase $311,850, and authorize the chair to sign. Lars Ewing, go ahead.
All right, Lars Ewing, Interim Public Works Director. In April of 2025, your board executed a contract with Argonaut Constructors to do work in the Cobb area, about 16 miles of roads. It was the planned project was a combination of both reconstruction with paving and at that point in time reconstruction with chip seal, a double chip seal. In September, your board approved a contract change order to modify the scope of the roads that were planned to have chip seal only. The concern there was the nature of these roads. It would just a chip seal on top of not asphalt, but on top of a pulverized road would lead to a lot of problems. And so your board approved a change order at that point in time to add in or to change from chip seal to a 2-inch asphalt overlay. The work progressed, and unfortunately, what was a 2-inch overlay, just due to adjustments in the road, there were imperfections in the road. More asphalt is needed to complete the remaining 4 roads. The estimate is about little under 1,500 tons of asphalt at a contract cost of $311,850. And so what your board is considering today is a change order to add that amount and change order 3 to the contract. And the work would progress. The contractor is prepared, as I understand it, prepared to start in tomorrow, if your board is to approve this. Funding for this, you'll just to harken back to the previous presentation. There are both appropriations and funding to pay for this out of SB1. So I'll pause there and answer any questions.
Supervisor Sabatier?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. One, we need to figure out a future process to allow you to finish a project and maybe give you a 10% wiggle room. I don't know. We did that with our armory because how long is this going to take before they can get to it, because the weather's changing. And so I'm thinking about the timeline here. Other than that, we have to finish the project, so there's no question to it. But because of timelines, I'd like to see what options you might be able to bring back to us in the future so that we can just get things done quicker so that we can finish the season.
I very much appreciate that. Yeah, the county legal counsel and the CAO's office and I have had those conversations, and we can pick those back up.
All right, with that, open it up for public comment for this item 7.4. And I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve contract change order number 3 to the contract with Argonaut Constructors, Inc. for the 2024 pavement rehabilitation project for an increase of $311,850 and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Lars.
Thank you, Lars.
All right, we're at our 10:30. We'll go ahead and read it off. 6.8, public hearing, adopt ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Lake County Code. Oops, is that the right one? No, sorry. I have the wrong one. I'll retract that, sorry. 6.5, 10:30 a.m., public hearing, consideration of appeal PL 25-22, AB 2406 of the Planning Commission's approval of the major use permit UP 23-05 and initial study IS 23-10 for the AG Ag Forest Wood Processing Bioenergy Project located at 755 East State Highway 20, Upper Lake, APN 004-01004. Appellant Larry Kahn continued from May 20th, June 17th, August 26th, and October 28th, 2025. CDD Director Maria Turner.
Thank you.
And one second to Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with the updates that Director Turner may provide your board may still want to swear in witnesses.
All right. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and swear in anyone that would like to speak on this item, witnesses or anything of the like. So if you can stand up, raise your right hand, and if you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. And if you can, turn on your camera. If not, just raise your right hand.
All right. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that reminder. And Maria, go ahead.
Thank you. Maria Turner, Community Development Director. The item you have before you today is an appeal of the Planning Commission's approval of the major use permit for a biomass facility located off of Highway 29. This item has been continued for a number of times, and I know the board really wanted to go forward today, but yesterday evening, staff did receive an email from the Scotts Valley Energy Corporation voicing their intent to withdraw their use permit application.
And so Lloyd, with that request, would we just be accepting that with a vote, or what do we do?
Oh, first step, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the first step, your board may want to confirm if the applicants are present to confirm the withdrawal or, the proposed correspondence, from their correspondence, the proposed withdrawal of their application.
Okay, so.
We do have a representative present.
Okay. And would that representative come up, please? And
We did have a representative present. He might have stepped out for a
Larry?
moment.
Larry
Patrick.
Cohen? Oh, Patrick?
But I did forward a letter signed by the.
Would you
by
like me
the-
to read it, or is it the letter?
That's the confirmation of, because the letter said we're stepping away from the project at this time, I sent a confirmation email, just requesting confirmation that, were they asking for a continuance or were they withdrawing their permit? And I got a response this morning that they are withdrawing the permit.
Lloyd?
And then as the next step with that representation,
Here he is. Come on up, Patrick.
Patrick, please come up to the mic, yeah. No, yeah, well, yeah, either way, it don't matter. And you probably have to swear him in, because were you in here when they swore in?
yes, but I was just about to take the
Oh,
call from
okay.
Tribes Administrator.
Okay. If you swore in already, then we're good.
No, I haven't yet.
Oh,
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
all right. And so, yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Patrick Gallardo, the Tribe's Director of Finance and the Interim Economic Development Director. At the time, the only comments I have on the project is that the tribe has decided to postpone the project and reintroduce it at a later time.
So is that a withdrawal or?
Correct.
Okay, a withdrawal. Okay, and Lloyd?
So thank you, Mr. Chair. So with the applicant's representation of withdrawal, your board may want to confirm with the appellant to see if they are willing to withdraw their appeal in light of the withdrawal of the application, just to confirm it on the record.
Mr. Khan? Okay.
Good morning, Chair and board members. I'm Marcia Birch. I'm here on behalf of Larry Kahn as the appellant. And I would like formal action from the board so that we don't have an application that's sitting in limbo, potentially still on appeal. And we will gladly withdraw the appeal if the board takes whatever action County Council believes is necessary to terminate that permit.
All right, thank you. With that, Lloyd?
So with those two statements in mind, your board has the option to still take public comment just on the issue of the withdrawal of the application and the confirmation of the withdrawal of the appeal. The action, just for your board's consideration, would be for your board to first accept by motion a withdrawal of the application, and then the second would be a motion to accept the withdrawal of the appeal and deny the appeal due to the withdrawal of the application.
All right.
And so, but that would be at a later time if your board wants to take public comment just on the withdrawals.
Did you have something? Put your pen up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question earlier about whether it was intent or actual withdrawal, because that to me was a different thing, but it sounds to me like we have the withdrawal. What is the typical withdrawal process that occurs within community development if a project is moving along, has not gone to Planning Commission, has not gone to the Board of Supervisors as an appeal? Is there paperwork that needs to be done to actually finalize a withdrawal? And is that something we need to mandate within a motion that that paperwork be finalized, or is our motion of accepting withdrawal good enough? I just want to make sure that there's not anything that was skipped that needs to be done.
If a request for withdrawal of an application comes either before or after a planning commission hearing, if it's appealed, it's still in the application process. And we finish up our cost recovery update to make sure that we issue any final statement that might be necessary. And in OpenGov, we will move the status of the project to closed, which is what we are already in the process of doing.
Lloyd, did you have something to add to that note? All right. So we do take comment. We need to take comment about the withdrawal then, right?
Your board may.
May or shall?
Public comment for a withdrawal typically is not necessary for your board, but your board has the option to take in public comment on this narrow issue of withdrawal.
Would you all like to take public comment or just take the action in accepting the withdrawal? Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
Personally, I think we just accept the withdrawal. There's no discussions to have, because if there's no application that's active and we've already approved the withdrawal, then this is a moot point, in my opinion.
And did you have something?
I had a question for the repellent. If this comes back, are they going to have to pay another fee to challenge it again?
If I may.
Yes.
This project is closed. So if it were to come back, it would start over as a brand-new application.
Right.
Thank you.
So, Vice Chair?
No, I'm good with not taking public comment, but agree we should take formal action as a board.
So can you read the motion? And I'm going to hand the gavel off so I can motion it once you say it.
Oh, if I could interrupt one more thing, just to be clear, as a follow-up, I did not talk to Pawan about rescinding the lease agreement for authorization of use of a biomass facility at this location.
Would that need to happen today, or do we put that on the agenda for another date and deal with that lease?
According to the lease agreement, oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in. I'll let Lloyd.
Go ahead, Lloyd, and then I'll come back to you because it's really important that we discuss the lease.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So that may be an item for a future date. In light of what's before your board today is just the appeal on the decision as it relates to the major use permit.
You know what? I gave the gavel to you. Go ahead. I'm sitting here. And then I didn't know if you.
Are there any other questions from the board at this time with that clarification? Then we'd be ready for action.
Right, and Lloyd will read it up.
Thank you. So the first action would be an motion to accept the withdrawal of application for major use permit UP 23-05 and initial study IS 23-10.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.
And then the second motion would be the motion to accept withdrawal of appeal PL-25-22, AB 24-06, and deny the appeal due to the withdrawal of the application for major use permit UP 23-05 and initial study IS 23-10.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously.
All right. There you go. Thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and take a 5-minute break. All right, welcome back. Oops, I don't know if you can hear me. Now they can. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next item on the agenda, which is 7.2, consideration of a letter of support for the Advancing Community Wildfire Resilience, Capacity Building, and Local Leadership Development Phase 2 project of the Lake County Resource Conservation District and Coalitions and Collaboratives Incorporated Action, Implementation, and Mitigation Grant Program. Supervisor Sabatier, I know you brought this, but I know that
I am deferring.
Deferring to Terry Loxton. Go ahead, Terry.
Thank you, Chair and Board. I'm very excited today to bring this item to you. My name is Terry Logston. I'm the Chief Climate Resiliency Officer and Tribal Liaison for the county. You may be aware and have heard of Coalitions and Collaboratives. This particular grant, COCO AIM, has been awarded several times in Lake County to really great projects, to the RCD, to Clerk, to Terra. And here, I'm really excited that this one will include the newly forming Redbud Fire Safe Council and some of the Firewise communities happening around Bruno's district, Supervisor Sabatier's. That's been a piece of the county that has been missing. And so we're very excited. This is going to expand the Lake County Fire Safe Council, which is under the Lake County RCD, their existing mobile tool cache program. This allows residents to, you don't have to rent it, you just reserve it, and they'll be able to bring you chainsaw, McLeod, all of the tools, string trimmers, loppers, things for you to do defensible space around your home that you may only need to use that equipment once or every few years. And so this tool cache
can be brought around the county. And then, of course, they're going to collaborate closely with the emerging Redbud Fire Safe Council and the Firewise communities around the city of Clear Lake, and connect the dots between upcoming hazardous fuels reduction work, including federally funded evacuation route clearing that CLERC, the Clear Lake Environmental Research Center, and anticipated state-funded defensible space implementation led by the RCD to build community awareness and engagement with these important initiatives. And so for your consideration is a draft letter of support, and I hope that you will allow the chair to sign.
Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
Thank you very much. Ms. Logsdon, thank you for taking this on. My name does not belong on this, and in fact, if it did, it should be shared with Supervisor Owen as well, since the Redbud Fire Safe Council is both a District 1 and a District 2 area. It was a little stressful because we had our first meeting yesterday. I'm like, guys, we need to have quorum. This cannot happen with the letter that's on tomorrow's meeting. All 7 members showed up. We are now officially started, and just very thankful for finally getting into the process. I want to just say thank you to Julia Sullivan and John Vandervoort for reaching out with the opportunity that the AIM grant can provide, and also for reaching out even before that in order to try to nudge us into getting the Fire Safe Council started. So I think it's a great start. We got to keep going, and really appreciate all the help that I've gotten from so many different people. So in support.
That's great.
All right, not seeing anything else, I'll open it up for public comment. I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the letter of support for the Advancing Community Wildfire Resilience Capacity Building and Local Leadership Development Phase 2 project of the Lake County Resource Conservation District Coalitions and Collaboratives, Inc. Action Implementation and Mitigation Grant Program.
I second that.
I have a motion and a second. Lloyd, real quick before we...
And authorize the chair to sign. I feel like I missed something.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will now move on to 7.3, consideration to approve amendment number 5 to the agreement between the County of Lake and Community Behavioral Health for specialty mental health services for fiscal years 23-24, 24-25, and 25-26. Go ahead, CAO.
Thank you, Chair. Director Jones asked me to, on her behalf, ask that this item be moved to a future date.
All right, so to be determined, right?
Yes.
All right, so it looks like we'll be moving this to another date. If there's anything else, I think, Lloyd, what do we have to do?
Your board may take in any public comment on the essentially the withdrawal or pulling of this.
Polling, okay. Is there any public comment on this? All right, bring it back to the board. It looks like we will take this up at a later date. So we have those done. We still have 15 minutes, so we might as well do calendars. All right, who wants to start?
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
Let's see here. I'm going to see if I can crash in tomorrow for the EDC meeting, have a COC meeting for the Continuum of Care. Lots going on there with the struggles between state and federal regulations that are coming out. There is a build graduation ceremony that will be happening over at Woodland Community College. I'm going to go there. There's also a special First Five Lake County meeting. So I plan on at least spying in just to keep up on what's going on there. Starting off the day on Thursday with the judge's breakfast, a meeting for our pick count. That's going to be happening on the 4th Thursday of January. So this is the organization of it. And oh yeah, I meant to say this last week. It's a little short notice, but every year over at Hope Center in the city of Clear Lake, there is an event that occurs on this. This one will be on December 18th. It starts at 4 p.m. It's called Compassion in the Cold. This is to somewhat of a memorial and a remembering of those that passed while living out in the streets. In the past 2 years, we have lost 26 folks while living out in the streets. I don't know what the number is for this year, but it's a moving event, and definitely everyone is invited to learn more and hear stories and just remember those that were lost, unfortunately. Meeting on Friday with SLR to discuss some Potter Valley stuff, and meeting with our tax collector and the city of Clear Lake later on. And then I have a Workforce Alliance of North Bay meeting at the end of that. And then I will be absent for the duration of the holiday season and coming back in late December.
Okay. Let me see. This weekend I took part in the Wreaths Across America in Lower Lake and at the cemetery, honoring our veterans and setting out wreaths. Yesterday I had attended the Fire Safe Council meeting that Supervisor Spati had just mentioned, and also met with a constituent who would like to do some either senior or veterans housing in Lower Lake. Tomorrow I have a meeting with a constituent out on Big Canyon Road, and I have a Blue Ribbon Committee meeting in Clear Lake and Calliope Water meeting on, I think, Thursday. And then I'm pretty open through the holiday.
All right. Brad or Supervisor,
Yeah.
I mean,
You want to go?
either or. Sorry.
Sure, I will go. Let's see. Had tomorrow I've got an RRA funding discussion meeting, build graduation. And Thursday, an internal meeting with staff and vice chair, a meeting with my colleague Supervisor Oral from Inyo County. Are you doing the AAA board meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Phew, I don't have to do that. I have a Cawberry Council meeting then in the evening. Friday, a meeting with a constituent here at the courthouse, the Coal Creek Advisory meeting, and then Wombi, and then go back home up to Cobb for the Candy Cane Run, which was rescheduled due to the football game. So we're very excited to get that going. And I think that wraps it up until the new year.
Is it me, or did I hear there's going to be a white Christmas in Cobb? I'm hearing there might be snow.
Believe it when we see it.
Vice Chair, go ahead.
Thank you. This past week, I attended the APC and LTA board meetings, also the Animal Control Advisory Committee meeting, as well as the Behavioral Health Advisory Board meeting. And then I attended the Circle of the Native Mind Elders lunch and discussion last Friday. Also met with the Lakeport City Manager. I was on the ad hoc for First Five Commission to pre-interview candidates for a couple of vacant seats that we have that'll then go back to the First Five for recommendations before they come here. I participated in the Reefs Across America this past Saturday at the Hartley Cemetery, and also participated in the Simple Gesture. It looks like I will be able to go to the city council meeting tonight because I think we'll be done early.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Then I have a First Five Commission special meeting this week, also a pit count meeting, and we also have the last Blue Ribbon Committee meeting of the year down in South County on Thursday. Also that night, I'm involved in a community Christmas dinner that's being put on for folks that they could need that with their kids here in Lakeport, and that involves the Rotary, the Elks, the Lions, and Kiwanis. And as of this morning, we filled it up with over 150 people from families. So that And we're going to have Santa Claus there for the kids with a gift. Also, in addition to feeding everybody a meal, each family will get another bag of groceries to take home. And then lastly, I attended the benefit concert put on by Trio Americana and our own Matthew Rostein that was raising money for the Gleaners this Sunday. And then I just wanted to announce it here as well. I let folks know at that event that I directed $15,000 of my discretionary money to go to the Lake County Gleaners Food Bank to help them get started in January. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So tomorrow I have the West Region Town Hall. Thursday, Law Library. Let's see, the Tippo County meeting, and then the AAA Governing Board meeting, and then Friday SLR, and the next 2 weeks are the holidays, so I'll leave it at that. I know that we're still 7 minutes ahead of our other Supervisor Sabatier.
I just wanted to let you know for the SLR, I may either be late or have to leave early. I forget the specific timing. I have to deal with some personal issues at the time, so.
Okay. No worries on that. With that, just take a break.
Yes, and that'll give them the opportunity to set up here with their presentations.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. Take a break until 11:15.
What number is this, 6.6 or 6.7?
6.7, I think.
All right, well, welcome back. We are on our 6.6, consideration of hearing request for code enforcement notice of nuisance in order to abate for 10674 Edgewater Drive, Kelseyville, APN 043433-09. Property owner Annette M. Encalada. We'll go ahead and give the floor to Community Development Director Maria Turner, Code Enforcement Manager Marcus Beltramo.
If Annette is on Zoom, raise your hand.
Oh, swear in. Thank you.
I'm not sure how to raise hands on if you're on the phone. I'm not seeing anybody raise their hand. So I guess we'll continue on. All right. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Turner, Community Development Director. This is the first of 2 requests for hearing that are on today's agenda. I will pass it over to Code Enforcement Manager Marcus Beltramo.
Good morning. Marcus Beltramo, Manager of the Code Enforcement Division for Lake County. I just want to ensure there is an appellant, and I just want to see ensure that she's not online or in the Zoom room.
No one's raising their hand.
The appellant. The individual who requests this hearing today did call in earlier today and said that she was going to be appearing via Zoom. So we gave her instructions. Also, the notice that we sent out for this hearing contained those instructions. So I'm not sure if she's having difficulties on her end or if she's one of these phone callers that are calling in. So I just wanted to put that on the record for the board. And maybe she might appear sometime during this hearing. Today, before the board, we have a request for a hearing. This is when code enforcement takes an action. We issue a notice, and those notice, they have appeal, allows the property owner or any interested party, or any party for that matter, to request an appeal or a hearing as part of their due process rights. And today, we come in front of you for the board. This property here, we received a request for a hearing from Annette Encalada. We spoke with her. This is the person who is reflected on title. You have her reason for appeal there. You can read what she put. We always give a map of the location. This is in the Rivieras area of Lake County, and you can see highlighted in yellow is where the property is located. The property has a power to sell on it. It is delinquent as taxes. It can be sold at a tax lien sale. Usually delinquent taxes or non-payment of taxes are an indication that there's no responsible party or willing party around to correct the violations, nor may they have an interest to correct the violations, as they can't pay their taxes and therefore may not want to spend money to correct the violations on a property they may not have in the future. Kind of give you the backgrounds on the property. It is a vacant lot. There are no improved structures on the property. It has been in tax default since June 2020. I also want to mention that as a witness for code enforcement, we have Code Officer Wes Nelson here. Wes Nelson was the officer who was assigned this complaint in this case to investigate. He went out to the site, he took photos, and he documented the issues. He also had some limited conversations with the property owner as well. He's here to testify in case the board needs any direct or testimony or needs specific information about what occurred or as to any issues in the photos or any direct questions. We received this complaint based on a referral from a CHP officer. The CHP officer had concerns there was an individual living in a vehicle on the property. Code Officer Wes Nelson responded to that complaint. When he went to the property, he saw a vacant lot with no improved structures or primary residence or dwellings on the property. But what he did observe on the property were the storage of items or miscellaneous things on the property. The property is an unimproved lot. It's a vacant lot. Therefore, there should be no storage. There should be no items. There should be nothing on the property. Per the zoning, it requires a residential dwelling. Until the residential dwelling is constructed and put on the property, then it allows for accessory or other uses on the property, such as storage or allowing or having open outdoor storage on the property. In this instance, we just have a bunch of miscellaneous items. You have a makeshift chicken coop. You have, looks like forms. Looks like they were trying to build something at one point, but really you have wood materials, concrete materials, stone materials. You have this chicken coop area. It's a makeshift chicken coop. This would be considered an accessory structure. It's something that would require a zoning clearance if a residential dwelling existed on the property. On the left, you can again see those forms and those footings. You can see stones that have been laid out in a certain pattern. Those are violations of the Lake County Code. Those are objects or storage items that are stored contrary to what Chapter 21, the Lake County zoning ordinance allows. It's contrary to the use of the property and the zoning designation, and that is the violation. We cited them for several violations of the code, and the corrective actions would be to remove all items and restore it to a vacant and unimproved lot. Staff recommends the Board of Supervisors uphold the notice of nuisance in order to abate, instruct staff to move forward with its abatement processes to remove all items and structures situated on the property. And that concludes my report for this property.
All right. Questions? Vice Chair? And
Yeah.
Supervisor Tues.
Just want to confirm a couple of slides back that, so that, where that gray tarp is, that's what you were talking about?
That is a chicken coop. That is a makeshift chicken coop.
Okay, and this residence here is a neighbor?
That is a neighboring property.
Okay.
So I guess if you knew where the property lines were, you could say that structure, and that is a structure, that is considered a structure. It would require zoning clearance. I guess you could say that most likely would be in the setbacks for the property as well.
Okay.
And that would be contrary to the Chapter 21 of the Lake County zoning ordinance.
That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Supervisor Sabatier.
Yeah, so it's a vacant lot. Can't have anything on a vacant lot, so I think this one's kind of easy. I just kind of want to ask a couple of questions, I guess. This is on the tax auction that we just approved last week. That creates complications, in my opinion, of what happens if, because my guess is we're probably going to be the ones having to abate this property because it looks like we're not getting the compliance. The person's not here today. That will be passed on to the new property owner who may suddenly walk in and want to clean this up. I'm just kind of, it creates complications for timelines for you. And currently the person who appears to own this is also unsheltered. So that person's probably going to find it really difficult to pay for anything.
So if I understand your question, I'd like to address that. One, I think there's your question is of a legal nature. So I think county council may have to opine on part of that question. I think also the tax collector would be the most appropriate person to respond to your question about it being on the tax default list, but my understanding is that any liens that are placed on that property are extinguished through that tax lien sale. I'm not going to get into quoting laws or legalities. I think that's best reserved for the tax collector or county council. So this is code enforcement. Unfortunately, we look at the tax issue and the delinquent tax status only as an indicator of responsible or willingness to correct the violations. The issues about placing the lien, that's something that we probably need legal counsel on, or how to proceed best in this, in the interest of the county. But what code enforcement's charged with is following up, determining if the violation exists, issuing the proper notices, going through the proper processes, and then correcting those violations through the existing procedures that we have. But I understand your concern, and it is a real concern about how do we recover those monies spent. On that note, I would defer to any legal counsel.
And I don't need the tax collector to be here. It's on the list. The minimum bid has already been set. And so unless somebody pays it, it will be pulled off the list. This person's not going to pay it. And it's going to sell because it's a great piece of property in Lake County. So I have, in my opinion, we're going to have somebody who believes they're going to get free and clear. And so I just wanted to bring up the complications. I'm overcomplicating the matter now because there's an issue. So the answer is yes, we keep moving forward. The appeal to me needs to be denied. But you're going to deal with some complications with a new owner as of March, April, who's going to say.
Well, like I said, my understanding is that once that lien sale happens and the property is transferred or to the new owner, any lien that was on that property is now extinguished. And I think it says that on the notice that they when they record it, the new owner records it.
But just to add to that, we will then work with the new owner to encourage self-abatement.
And I've just dealt with it where you finish in February, the sales in March, and then suddenly new charges appear because it takes you time. And so that's the issue that I'm thinking of ahead of time. But I'm done.
All right. Hearing nothing else, I'll open it up for public comment. No hands in Zoom. I'll bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move that we uphold the nota? Is that?
Notice of nuisance in order to abate.
And instruct staff to move forward with its abatement process to remove all items and structures situated on the property.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I have a sustain.
Oh, abstain? So I have one abstention. I have a 4-0-1, and that motion passes. And we have 3 minutes before our next.
I should have asked more questions.
I know, what's up with that?
Didn't mean to disappoint.
Oh, right when I forgot about something. And Thursday night at it's the Nice Event Center, myself, Marcus and Maria and Sheriff Bingham are going to be at the Nice Event Center to talk about Copter. So, so that'll be happening. I think did I say 5:30? I think it's 5:30. 5:30, that's when it starts. And so see you all there if you want to come and discuss Copter, and appreciate you all willing to come out to that and talk with the community about it, especially, considering it's been a while. So, yeah.
I have to mention, it is really distracting that there is somebody toasting bread and it smells delicious. It's seeping through.
It smells like potatoes to me.
Is it potatoes?
I don't know. It's someone's lunch.
It's getting too close to lunch to not be distracted by that.
Is it raining?
Are you here for the next one? Okay.
Maybe just, if anything, very light.
All right. We're going to go ahead and go on to our 6.7, 11:30 hearing, consideration of hearing request for a notice of nuisance in order to abate for 9685 Nancy Drive, Kelseyville, APN 114-100-04, property owner Victor Hall, Community Development. Would you like to start out and swear in, I guess?
All right. With your right hand raised, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Hall. If you just want to have a seat real quick, we're going to put on our information, and then you can have a chance to respond to that information or say, or answer any questions or ask any questions at that time. Good morning again. Marcus Beltramo for the Code Enforcement Division for the County of Lake. Here today, we're discussing a request for a hearing for 9685 Nancy Drive, Kelseyville, California. We received a request for a hearing from Victor Hall, who is here today and present. He is on title and has a fractionalized interest in the property here. I kind of want to start off here with a little bit of background. Code enforcement has open code cases or complaints received going back to 2019 on this property. 2019, a case was opened for trash and unpermitted structures on the property and an open fire pit. 2021, we got complaints for illegal cannabis cultivation. In 2022, we also got a complaint for people living in tents and structures and unpermitted structures and tents on the property. The property does have 3 owners. Mr. Hall has 50% interest according to county records. John Chapman and Lisa Dundas have 25% interest also in this property. The property is owned RL, which is rural lands. There are structures on the property, but none of the structures are permitted. The county has no record of any permits being issued for this property for any structures, nor are any structures reflected on the tax rolls. The property does have delinquent taxes on the property with a default date of June 2025. That may be late taxes. Usually there's a 6-month grace period for that. What really started this complaint or this investigation is that code enforcement received information from the community that a special event was being put on at the property. Well, first, let me give you context. The property is located in Kelseyville. It's off Bottle Rock. It is in a rural area. We did get complaints about a music event occurring on the property. We had concerns that the event would require a use permit that would be issued by the Community Development Department for that type of event that was to occur on the property. That being said, code enforcement opened up a case, started researching the issues. One of the issues we did research is that we reached out to environmental health. Per environmental health, they had conversations or contact with individuals from the property who wished to install a septic, although no permit had ever been issued or the process has not followed through to fruition. So there is no septic on the property. This is what we received as part of our complaint, and this is what started our investigation, a sign that said Music Village. We also received other information that an event involving Music Village would be put on at the property. So we did some internet research and we came across Music Village of Lake County. This is from Facebook. All these photos are from past events, not what occurred at the property. So we're using past information to kind of give us circumstantial information about what will be occurring at the property. More Facebook stuff from Music Village. On the right, you could see the property and you could see structures on there. This information also gave us information about the type of event and what would be occurring. In this case, it would be a music and some sort of festival. Just more information. Again, this is all stuff that we found online by conducting a simple internet search. On September, let's see here. The week prior to September 5th, code enforcement had reached out to Mr. Hall and contacted him, and in August, reached out to Mr. Hall and asked to conduct a site inspection. Mr. Hall was present at the property. During that site inspection, we toured the property, conducted a site visit of the entire property, And these photos are reflections of what we saw. We saw several unpermitted structures. We saw recreational vehicles, people that we believed occupying recreational vehicles on a permanent basis. We saw a stage set up, which you could see on the right. We saw unpermitted electrical. We saw this cellar, which is unpermitted, had been created on the property. Again, on the right is the music venue that does have electrical hooked up sound. All that electrical is unpermitted. This is a picture, I believe, in that cellar. Another picture of an RV on the property. More pictures of the stage up close. I believe this is the stage that they were going to conduct the music festival at. Some further pictures of unpermitted structures. Again, more unpermitted structures. On the right, you could see through the woods there, or through those trees, a bunch of tent structures and people staying in those tent structures. Again, this property is zoned rural lands. It should be a vacant lot. There should be no structures on the property. There should be no tents on the property. The property really shouldn't be used till it meets the zoning designation for a rural land. If events are going to be put on at the property, they're going to require a use, in the opinion of our planning division, would require a use permit, and there's a process for going through to obtain that use permit. Approximately what we discovered or observed on the property were 4 sheds, 2 decks, 1 retaining wall, 1 tent structure used as a performing stage, several cargo containers. Cargo containers, if they're on a permanent basis, do require a zoning clearance. 9 travel trailers, several miscellaneous pen areas, an unpermitted barn, several water tanks, temporary toilets or porta potties. Again, porta potties by rule in Lake County cannot be on a property more than 30 days. Unpermitted electrical and solar panels. All these constitute violations of the Lake County Code. One, the property is being used contrary to its zoning designation. Also, it's being contrary to Chapter 5 and the fact that they didn't obtain building permits for the structures on the property. To kind of get ahead of the special event, we tried to we had planning issued a letter, and in the letter, it kind of laid out the description of the event and what would be required from Lake County to put on such an event. So we tried to give them prior notice to the event being put on. That notice was posted at the property. I believe it was posted either the day before the event or the day of. We did try to put it in the mail, but I don't believe the mail would have reached the property owners in time before the event occurring. And it is my understanding that the event was put on and it did occur, even though we did try to convey and communicate information that a use permit would be necessary prior to the event taking place. I also want to add another note of interest. Prior to this action in 2024, Mr. Hall did meet with our planning division regarding this property. And I believe he's met with our planning division on a prior instance before 2024 with our planning division. Those conversations consisted of how he could use the land, what would be required to use the land in the way that he wanted to use the land. At one point, he wanted to have some kind of a teaching area for children. And he would be children out there and he would teach them about, I guess, nature. Mr. Hall will have to kind of explain that further, but he wanted to kind of bring kids up here and use it as an educational environment. So again, those have to be in line with what is allowed per the zoning designation. So I believe Mr. Hall does have information about what the zoning for this property allows, what is allowed to occur on this property, and what it would take as far as permitting to put certain events on at this property. We did issue a notice of nuisance in order to abate. That is what Mr. Hall responded to by requesting this hearing. Here is the letter from the planning division. Again, that letter lays out what our understanding of the project, the code sections that are applicable to the situation, and the corrective actions or the steps that would needed to be taken. And in this case, he would have to first obtain the issuance of a use permit prior to putting on this music village. Music village, again, as interpreted, let me walk that back. Music village, in the opinion of our planning division, would require a use permit based on our understanding of the event and the descriptions given. This concludes my report. Staff is recommending the Board of Supervisors uphold the notice of nuisance in order to abate and instruct staff to move forward with its abatement process to remove everything from the property.
Go ahead, Supervisor Pyska.
Well, do we want to hear from?
Oh, yeah, yes, sorry. Sir, you want to come up and speak? Yep.
Yes, indeed.
The microphone, please.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say if you guys went back into your time frame and look at 9685 Nancy Drive and saw how exponentially that land was improved and
Can you state
cleaned
your
when
name?
we
I'm
first
sorry.
got that property.
Sir, can you state your name real quick?
Victor Hall.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. There was so much improvement done on that property. And in that time frame, many vehicles and garbage and matter of fact, prior to buying the property, it was stated by the seller that in order to purchase this property, you have to clean it up to a point of that we acknowledge that you've done a lot of work. And those people who've actually seen that property back in those days, including code enforcement, people, air management, who came through time and said, wow, what an improvement. And a lot of those people that were there were the reason why it got done. It was so bad. Now, if you look at the surrounding properties, you will say this property is by far much better shape than all the other properties around there. Okay, just saying that. Now, Music Village. I am the vice president of Children's Museum of Art and Science. Bruno Sabatier can tell you my involvement with children and music. He actually had my kids come and perform at some of his events at the college. Now, the main objective of Music Village is to continue to give children that who cannot afford the ability to have that type of training and give them that. If you would solve something that you did not see on that board was the letter, or excuse me, from the Record B, a letter stating that Children's Museum of Art and Science did the Lake County's first music camp. And what we did, can you please bring that up? Oh, thank you very much. Okay. We bought Lake County's very first music camp, and the idea was to do it with little cost as possible, because these kids cannot afford it. When I came up in Sonoma County as a musician and not able to afford a lot, it cost $2,000 to go to Camp Cazadero for 10 days. As a youth, when I'm in the Santa Rosa Junior Symphony, I said, if I have the opportunity, I will make a music camp for kids who can afford it. And the way I did it, I had fundraisers, and they were supposed to be private.
Can I have a point of order, Chair?
Yes,
We're talking about the code abatement.
Okay.
Let's talk about the code abatement.
Okay. So, that property, by far, is much better off than it was when we first got it. You're talking about code abatement. The improvements on that property are very substantial. So at this day, if Lake County does not want Music Village to continue, I understand that. I'm letting you know that Lake County could definitely benefit from this program. And I can see how you can bend and twist every bit of that to make it look like something very bad, but you don't see the benefits from it, and it's going to be at a loss. I know, I can see the faces. It's kind of like,
Sure.
I can, we can just, Children's Museum of Art and Science is probably going to fold when I move the music program
All right, sir.
away from.
Do you have any, anything else you can add about the actual violations they're talking about, or?
Okay. The structures there on the property, many of them are in the process of going. You took a stamp in time, but if you were to go back in time, you would have seen, like I said before, you would have seen the improvement, and the improvement it continues. A lot of that stuff was there when we got there, and all you got to do is go back. And you have the ability to do that, I'm sure. Go when you say back in 2011 or 2015, and you took pictures. Look at the improvement.
Okay. I'll start off. Did you have something to add?
Yes, I have a lot to talk about.
All right, sir. We're going to go ahead and I think they're going to address some of what's been stated.
Well, I'm glad that we're finally talking about this property because it has been an issue for a long, long time, as long as I've been on the board, and you touched on some of that, Marcus. We do have some pictures from a few years ago, and I just forwarded them to Johanna because these are the pictures that code enforcement took in 2023. We've been having this bootleg music festival for several summers. That is really upsetting to the people that live around because there's not a single permit that's been pulled on this property, and you have all of these structures. So we don't have any idea how these things were built, what the electrical looks like. This is a major public safety issue. You're having a lot of people on property in the height of fire season. We don't know how many people are there. There's sanitation issues. Law enforcement has been out there many, many times. And, I'm going to just read from our sheriff when I asked him to kind of recall some of the things that have happened out there. And he said that there was, in 2023, there was a loud music complaint. That was during one of the first festivals, I think. I don't know. It's hard for us to gauge when they began. 3 times in 2025 for ODs, overdoses, the unpermitted music festival. On 9/6/25, deputies took a report regarding the same, and we also transferred 4 911 calls to CDF for reported overdoses and medical aids, all on September 6th of this year. And so this has been a long issue with code enforcement. This is a major cost to abate because I don't see any effort coming from the property owner. And I'm just wondering from county council, how do we handle situations like this? Because you're bringing people on property to very unsafe conditions. And we just can't allow this to happen. If you want, I'm sure that your music program is wonderful, but you've got to do it in a way that aligns with our policies. You can't just buy a parcel in the woods. This is what I say all the time because it happens in my district all the time. You can't just buy a parcel in the woods and do whatever the heck you want. There are very serious safety issues here. And I don't know, Johanna, if you can pull up those pictures from 2023, but not a lot has changed. I think there's more that's happened. But this is an ongoing issue that is going to be very expensive for our code enforcement to handle. And so we need to have a discussion on how we address these types of issues, because this isn't the only one. This is a major, major issue in my district.
I think Supervisor Sabatier, you were next.
Yeah, and I know that this is in District 5, and the reason I put my pen up, I just wanted to have full disclosure. Obviously, it was mentioned. I've known Victor Hall for 10 years, maybe more, through some of the community organizing that I was doing in Clear Lake, where I would invite Children's Museum of Arts and Science, which has gone through iterations of who was working there. He worked next door to Woodland Community College. We would bring him onto the campus with his musical groups from what was KEC back then to come over to the campus. helped him put a concert together in the city of Clear Lake. So I just wanted to disclose the relationship. There is no financial or any personal benefits from the relationship. I think that he does a fantastic job when it comes to music. I will say you're just an amazing musician, but we're not here to decide on the value or the valor of his abilities or capabilities. This is about a land use. What I do see in the letter, now I'll continue. I wanted to stop there and let you speak first, but since you've already spoken, I do see in a letter that you want to be able to continue these things in the right way, and I'm hoping that you will sit down with staff and do that the appropriate way to make sure that you can keep going. But if there's no permits and there's things that are there that should not be there, especially we're always looking at the fire issues. We want to make sure things are safe. If there's unpermitted electricity, you may have done it correctly, but it needs to be done correctly and going through the right permit processes. I hope that you will take the time to really sit down with staff and figure out how it is that you're going to be able to do what you've done. You may have done some great work to clean it up, and thank you for that. But the buildings and everything else, especially if you're bringing in the public, needs to be done just like everyone else is being asked to do so. And so I appreciate what you do. I appreciate what we've done in the past, but the buildings and the property have to meet the same standard that everyone else is being asked to do. I hope that your sincerity in the letter, which I know is sincere, that you will sit down with staff and you will find a way so that you can keep doing what you've been doing.
Go ahead, Vice Chair, and then Supervisor Owen.
Yeah, what I see with the evidence is that obviously we've got use of a land, no permits, not following the zoning ordinances. I appreciate what you're doing with the music, sir, and all that, but there is a legal path to get there with a major use permit, but all of these other things need to be eliminated before we can even get to that point. So that's just my thoughts on where we're at.
Yes, Supervisor Owen?
I was just going to ask, is there any septic on the ground, or was it all porta potties? Porta potties, okay. And then your electric, was that all the solar?
Victor, can you please go to the microphone to respond? Thank you.
We use the solar panels. The batteries are obsolete, so basically we had solar panels during the day, and if we had an event, we'd use a generator.
Okay. I was just, because, so it wasn't electric coming in that was done illegally, it was the solar and the generators. So
Yes.
so it was all temporary.
Yes.
And I'm one that actually believes in our personal rights when we buy property to be able to do a certain amount of stuff on your own property. You're paying for it.
Yes.
I do understand the need for the bigger events to be able to have that, but I am also one that I just want to make sure that our county is not overreaching. On the last one, I felt that the little dog kennel shouldn't have been considered a structure, and now we're off that, and that's why I sustained on that. I just want to make sure that we're not overreaching and making it too difficult for our people, especially those that are struggling. So, and I do appreciate what you're doing with the kids. I know I was kind of looking at things, and I didn't want you to get the wrong impression. I am probably pretty sympathetic. So I hope that you are able to stay and continue to do music with the kids. I don't know anything. I saw your reaction with the overdoses, and I don't know if you know anything about that.
I know nothing about that. And I'm not sure that it really is connected, because I can see that there's things that are like, he's saying like from my understanding, what did you call that my fixture between two walls
Cellar.
and then a
Cellar?
A cellar. What is the definition of a cellar? Doesn't a cellar have to have a dirt roof? I mean, isn't that a cave? I have two dirt walls, and I have a ceiling that is made from bamboo. The roof is bamboo. It's not underground. So I'm concerned about things being said in a way to where they look a lot worse than they actually are. It's kind of like, what they call a witch hunt or something. So that's my concern, that this being overly played.
Right, 1 second, sir.
Thank you.
Marcus or Maria?
This is a case of us responding to numerous complaints for a property, identifying the unpermitted structures. The definition of a cellar is something we'd be happy to work with Mr. Hall on it going forward. As with all community organizations, we're happy to work with the Museum of Arts and Sciences in order to have a use permit for special events approved at this location. One of the findings has to be that there are no current code violations at that location.
Okay, go ahead.
I would also like the board to consider speaking to our code officer, Wes Nelson. He was on site. He did the full inspection. He is a licensed contractor. His assignment is unpermitted construction and substandard housing. He can tell you the condition of the construction and the safety issues with the construction. But any dwelling a person enters has to be inspected to make sure it can withhold state and won't collapse on them. That's why you have a certificate to occupy for a home. It has to be certified that you can occupy this safely. So anything that anybody can go in theoretically could be a safety hazard if it's not properly constructed. So that's why I apologize if I used the improper legal term to describe that structure. But it is a structure. It is something that would require permitting. It is something that require inspection. And to the issue of electrical, temporary or permanent, there is a charge going through there. There are codes about conduits, if it has to be in the ground, if it has to be protected. Anything that has a charge has the potential to start a fire. I think we're all sensitive to that. One of the worst fires in Lake County started from faulty wiring. So I just wanted to kind of clear that issue up. And it's not just a land use issue, it's a building permit issue, it's a safety issue. And Mr. Hall did speak to air quality, said that his property was great. Well, one of those complaints received in 2022 was from air quality. So I find that to be an inconsistency. And again, if you have questions about the actual construction and what was seen out there, I would like you to consider having Wes Nelson or asking Wes Nelson some questions.
All right.
Can I respond to that?
Yes.
Real quick? And thank you for that. The reason I was clarifying was when you guys had stated the illegal electrical, I was envisioning electrical coming in, and I had seen the trailer and I wanted to know if there was any additional. So it was just more of a clarification for my mind. So I appreciate that. And actually, I should have spoke up on the last one because I didn't consider the chicken coop a structure. So, and that's where I brought that back up. And that was probably, it was bad timing for me.
Maybe the issues on my end. I should be better explaining these things, giving you a fuller picture so you understand all the issues that are involved in these situations.
And thank you. And I definitely, I know that Mr. West, I have spoke to him before, and I think he's very capable.
Right. Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
So there's just something that I remember, and I try my best to be fair and equal to all people. And we had a project that was up in the Blue Lakes that was looking to bring in 150 people, whatever amount of people, in order to do some concerts and weddings and things like that. And based on the information we had, we did not provide them a use permit because of the issues of the roads, the access, the fire threat. There is a process, and I'm not here to give Mr. Hall a final destination, but there's an opportunity to sit down and figure this out, and that's the direction I would like to go. I want to be consistent with how it is that I make decisions. It doesn't always go in the way that people want it to go, but overall there is a pathway, a legal, legitimate pathway, so that your neighbors don't at least felt like they had the ability to make a comment on what will happen, because yes, it is your property, you do have property rights, but if there is a sound issue and the neighbors are surprised by it, that does have an impact on the neighbors, so that's why the use permit is a great way to make sure everybody's aware of what's happening. But again, I'm looking backwards at some of the decisions made, and to me, this is a very similar decision where let's get you to the right destination through the right pathway, and let's see what happens.
Well,
Go ahead, Supervisor.
but that was for a use permit. We're not talking about a use permit today. We are so far past that because you have been warned every summer for the last several years that you are way out of compliance. And we have to deal with this major, major code issue. We have to deal with that first before there can be any conversation about a permit. And Director Turner's made that very clear. You cannot have outstanding code violations. That's what we're here to talk about. This property has to come into compliance, full stop, before anything else happens, before any other conversation happens. I get so many complaints every summer from this. And code enforcement has been out there too many times as law enforcement. We have to deal with this. This is a very unsafe situation, potentially dangerous in a very high fire threat area. And I've got the landowners all around you complaining about this every single summer. I think your time is finished right now because our board is having this conversation.
I think,
Oh, but this is important.
Sarah, go ahead briefly.
Music finish is done. I wanted to have this conversation, but we've had the opportunity, been asked to come to Sonoma County, and we've already decided to make that move. So all those buildings on the are going to be gone. Is already in the process. I just wanted to hear what you guys had to say. So it is done. I actually told this gentleman that already.
What's the timeline for having all of this demoed back down to bare soil, nothing else here?
Okay. Now, do we have a right to have our chickens and our chickens and our farm? Are we to grow food? Can we still grow food and raise our chickens?
If you have built a home out there, you have to confirm that with community development. There's a lot of things that have to happen before you can do that. I have people doing this all the time, just kind of homesteading on their land without
I have
following
a house.
without following our permitting process. You can't develop your property without going through community development, and you don't have a single permit.
Okay.
So you have to listen to them on what the process is. But if you're saying that your plan is
we're
to,
done. We're
if
done
your
with that.
plan is to self-abate right now, starting right now,
Yes.
then we need to know what that timeline looks like so
Okay.
that you can do that without us having to do it. Because if we do it, then it is going to be attached
okay.
to your property.
Fair enough.
So that's what we need to understand right now. What is your timeline and what is the date that you'll be complete with back to bare soil, nothing else on this property?
By October.
So a full year, pretty much, 11 months. And no more music festivals.
No music festivals. I'm done here.
Okay, so we're gonna need like monthly check-ins or whatever code enforcement feels like to monitor that there's progress happening towards this.
That's not a problem.
abatement.
We are doing this post haste.
Supervisor Sabatier.
We've already have a new destination. But I just definitely wanted to follow this through. I already told this gentleman right here that was the case, and he said to me, no, come and listen to the board. They may have different ideas.
All right, so if you can elaborate on that, and I know Supervisor Sabatier, you had your pen up, and
Wait, just wait.
I think we've gone further than we should.
okay. Do you want to just add real quick, and then we can move forward?
Mr. Hall came upstairs and he's kind of said, hey, I'm already taking care of this one. I said, you already have an official appeal hearing. You need to come down and speak to the board. He requested a hearing. We have to put this on to move forward in the process. This is a due process check, so we had to have this hearing. So I told him he needs to come down and talk to the board is what my communications were with Mr. Hall this morning.
All right.
To answer your question on the being able to grow your food and to have chickens, I think you don't need a permit if it's under 150, 200 square feet, correct? It's 150, I think, in the county for a chicken house. And is that correct? So he could still grow vegetables, grow your food, to answer that question, I believe.
There are options for primary agricultural use within the rural land zoning district that any of our counter planners would be happy to go over with Mr. Hall. We don't like to give hypothetical yeses or nos until we understand a project description and a proposal, but we'd be happy to work with him.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody else have anything, or go ahead,
Ready to
Marcus?
move forward.
I apologize, but waiting till October, that's too long. And also, I mean, there would have to be cease of all buildings. No one can go in those buildings. The trailers, those can be removed out immediately. I believe those can be towed out. So that's something that can be done on a short-term basis. But, I mean, waiting till October, I think there's concerns in the community that this code enforcement division is too lenient. So, we have overreaching and lenient here. I'm trying to find the balance, but I think October is not the right balance. And I would ask for consideration for a different time period. Again, this is going to go through a whole summer. You potentially have electrical out there. That's not a good recipe. And so I'd just like to add that information for consideration. I also would like to add one other thing. We do have administrative fines in place. Those will be accruing. So those will still keep accruing, and those will go against the property owners. And then after June, we are going to consider placing that administrative fine amount as a lien against this property. So fines will be accruing till all violations are corrected.
All right. You have anything else?
I do. I think self-abatement is the best option. But I would like to hear what your recommendation would be, and how you're going to monitor this, and what you feel like a more appropriate timeline is to have it finalized.
So in a perfect world, we would like it abated tomorrow. But then there's the practical reality of that. At this point, we were just kind of have this hearing, let the board kind of hear what the board's input is, what they're considering. We haven't really formulated an actual timeline yet. He still has a little bit of time to correct the matters. He appealed early on in the noticing phase, so he still has time left to correct the issues, because I believe that stays the action. I don't know the exact time. I can get that to you, though. But that once they appeal, it stays that action till the issue is heard and a determination's made. Then the clock keeps ticking, so I think he has a couple more weeks to correct it. But then the fines will go into play, and 30 days is 30 days. We'd like to see it clean up in 30 days, but monitoring it, so we're going to go out there and monitor this and waste more time and resources monitoring it and not being compensated for that time, which I think is a concern of this board, is being compensated for our time appropriately.
Don't the administrative fines help compensate?
So if the administrative fines, if you collect on them, that would be one way, but that administrative fine is not directly tied to cost recovery. In the abatement, we account for administrative time, and that's the cost recovery for that. I guess you could consider, but my understanding of administrative fines, that's just a fine for a violation. That's really not, but that money could be used for cost recovery, officer time, or to make code enforcement self-sustaining. But there's a lot going on this property. I know it's a big lift. It's going to be a tough one, but
we could do.
I don't know what that schedule looks like, but 6 months, 9 months is what we're talking about, and I think my preference would be sooner than that.
I can make it happen by June. How's that sound?
I think the way I would approach this is we approach this in phases. We say, hey, all the RVs and the travel trailers got to be off. All the trash has got to be off within 30 days. Then the building and the structures, that's going to be a big issue, those structures out there. The water tanks also would have to be off in 30 days. So we could probably come up with the schedule, say phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and just say you have to have this done by this date, this done by this date, this done by that date. But, I mean, what's to ensure that he'll follow through, or the property owners will follow through? It's not like we have a contract or written agreement that we can enforce through the courts. So it's just be his word, and Unfortunately, code enforcement, we believe 50% of what we hear. So that's something that we have to take in. I believe Mr. Hall, if he says June, we could work on a compliance plan in phases where completion is done by June, but the electrical would have to go immediately, all travel trailers and RVs, all trash, all porta potties within the first 30 days.
Okay.
If you can do that or manage that. I mean, the other recourse is if we abate this, you're talking $20,000, $30,000. And if you do asbestos testing, we got one on Nice it's going to be a tough one. Really, the ideal way to handle this, if we had to abate it, would be through a receivership or through a court order to compel him to do that, where there may be criminal penalties involved. Maybe even looking at civil remedies where you go through his assets and sell his assets to pay for the abatement. These are all things that need to be
I
considered.
think
We're getting into
going into options that should not be discussed, at least at this moment in time.
Vice Chair.
I just want to be clear where I'm at is I think we need to move forward with the recommended action. There is no guarantee to try to negotiate all this time. There's too many violations there. That's where I said he has self-abatement is always better, but he's got some time to go do stuff on his own if we do move forward with that option. That's where I'm at.
All right. Lloyd, if you have anything.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So your board can proceed with the recommended action as laid out in the board memo. There's been some discussion of a possible extension that may forego the recommended action itself. And if your board is willing to consider that, essentially this goes back to the NOTA, Notice of Nuisance in Order to Abate. Your board can still move that extended deadline, which by my count, it was 30 days from the time of service. It was September 8, 2025. That's when it was served. And so 30 days from that is what was stated in the NOTA. Your board can provide which we're well past that at this point. So your board can provide an extension to complete for the property owner to self-abate, to complete the abatement of the nuisance in accordance with the terms of the NOTA that was issued in September 8, 2025, and provide further order that if completion of the abatement based on the requirements that was laid out in the NOTA was not satisfied, then direct staff to, as part of your board's order, to complete the abatement itself. So that is one option, and that would incorporate the extension. Otherwise, your board always has this option to take up the recommended action that's laid out in the board memo. As far as enforcement is concerned, there have been instances in the past where in the course of self-abatement that took place in a certain period of time, essentially an agreement is entered into between the county code enforcement and the property owner, and that would be enforceable by breach of contract standards. Essentially, that's one way to enforce it. I'm putting that in there under this possible second option if your board is willing to consider an extension. But otherwise, based on your board's discussion, those would be the two main options.
Sir, we're finished. We're done. Yeah, we're gonna move forward here. Supervisor Spate.
So this started in late August as far as this that we're looking at. We're hearing about some history, but the fact is that's not here. This is as of August. So I think there's two different mindsets. One is this has been ongoing forever and forever, and here we're actually only 4 months from when this started, which is not your typical situation we've been dealing with when it comes to code enforcement, and I'm happy for that. I want to see that continuing. I'm not going to say this not enough time has passed, but we also need to recognize that self-abatement is the best way to go. And so absolutely, in my opinion, within the next 2 weeks, the high threat issues like electricity needs to be taken care of. And then I would like to see that within 30 days, there is a plan to be able to accomplish self-abatement, because a stage or something like that. Second, no electricity and no more events, right? Because you need to have a use permit, and the use permit's not going to be allowed, so therefore no more events. But certain things are not going to be a disaster if there's no electricity and if there's no events. And so therefore a plan to get to full self-abatement by June at the very latest, better than October in my opinion. But to me, we're just going to spend money that we may not get back, and I would prefer that we work with the landowner to get to where we need to be rather than not. Again, what we have in front of us is from August of 2025, and the request for a hearing was done in mid-September. So it's been 3 months that we've been waiting for the hearing. That is not a remark to say anything negative. It takes time and process to get it here. And so I think that we need to figure out a way to move forward, to get rid of the immediate potential threats, and then work in order to get it done to self-abatement.
I mean, this is what I've been saying too, is the easiest way is to start with self-abatement, but this is a longer ongoing issue. The pictures from 2023 show that were up briefly. So I just, I want to give that opportunity for self-abatement. And I want to hear what you think a reasonable timeline is and how we can make sure that it's happening and it's meeting the mark so that, that is the best option for all of us. So what I want to hear from Code.
The department is comfortable with 2 weeks for the removal of direct health and safety hazards such as electrical, and working with the property owner to self-abate at a timeline that we see as being held up.
Okay, and no one's living out there.
Correct. That would be considered a health and safety violation. The electrical, nobody's living out there. Anything that our building division would deem a direct threat to the neighborhood and the parcel.
Okay. So what would be the motion for this?
Thank you. Just for clarification for code enforcement, CDD staff, as far as the timeline for self-abatement, if we're talking beyond the this 2 week period proposed, what would be the completion date, extended completion date, I would call it, for the self-abatement? That's from staff.
We're happy to work with Mr. Hall to get that figured out.
I think we were looking for a more specific date for the motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know that mentioned June. I'm happy to say yes to June as long as there's progress and as long as we meet the markers on the way.
I think June is too long. I'd like to see something shorter, and then if there's an extension needed, then we can talk about that. But I think 6 months is too long. I think this is urgent, and I want to see real progress made.
Historically, when the board considers timelines for code cases, it has typically been about 2 months, but no longer than that.
2 months. I'd be comfortable
This is
with
urgent.
2 months. I just want to have a solid date. I don't want to leave this without a date.
And just for further clarification, would your board consider directing staff as part of the motion and the order to enter into an agreement with the property owner outlining these extensions and these self-abatement terms?
If we have a 2-month timeline and there's not the progress that the board is expecting in that 2 months, we will move forward with abatement.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, for
Yes,
purposes of the motion, just to confirm that public comment testimony is closed, is that right, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So the motion could be as such. Your board may move to uphold the NONOTA that's that was served on September 8, 2025, and instruct staff to move forward with its abatement processes to remove the existing violations and to bring the property into compliance with the Lake County Code and zoning ordinance, subject to the following. In 2 weeks, the property owner shall remove all abatement issues that have that pose a direct threat to health and safety. That would include the electrical. And the property owner would also be required to complete the self-abatement, and that would include, all of the requirements that's laid out in the NOTA that was served on September 8, 2025, within 2 months from today's date. And if in the event neither of those conditions are satisfied, then as part of your board's order, the NOTA would then be upheld, and code enforcement staff will then move forward with abatement processes to remove the existing violations and to bring the property into compliance with the Lake County Code and zoning ordinance. That would be the motion.
Go ahead.
So I apologize, but I feel like we're getting into the weeds. This is not an abatement hearing. This is is there a violation hearing? You guys, without coming to us, do extensions if you feel like you're getting progress being made. Why can't you just come back to us and say, we're here for an abatement because of, or just do your normal process? Yes, there is a violation. Yes, carry on. If there's progress, work with the property owner. If there's not progress, then at that point you go to abatement. I feel like we're giving you very explicit directions when you already have discretion for that direction in the first place, but you see the support of, we need to get to a final destination. I feel like we're getting deep in the weeds.
It is a notice to abate.
No,
Yeah, it is.
there's a notice of violation.
Notice of nuisance in order to abate.
But this is the first notice. This is not the last
This
notice.
is what the hearing says.
Yes, this is for an
This is for an
appeal
abatement.
the abatement notice. This is about the abatement. To appeal the notice of violation, you have to pay a.
You have to have the mic. Mike, please.
And so
You started this in late August. He received a notice of violation to abate his property, which is what you do for anybody. That's a notice of violation. Like, you don't say notice of violation, you don't do anything.
No, a notice of violation is to impose administrative fines. A notice of nuisance, I'm sorry.
I apologize myself for not using the right words, but it is a notice that was provided to the property owner on what the issues are and that they need to rectify the issues. This is no different than when this doesn't come to us, that when you see progress being made, that you have the discretion to provide extensions. You're not strict on specific, it's 30 days or else everybody gets fined. It's whether or not there is progress. Am I incorrect on
So
that?
within the code, within the statute, it does allow us discretion that if they make 50% progress, we can allow them another 30 days.
And I would say, let's just go right back to that code. Yes, there's a violation. Please work with the property owner. That's where I am. I think we're dictating very specific orders to a code enforcement.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So what's before your board at the same time is there's an appeal of the notice of the NOTA. So your board would have to decide on that whether to grant or deny the appeal. So if your board certainly has the option to grant the appeal and terminate the abatement proceedings. That would be the result of that. Your board may deny the appeal and move forward with upholding the NOTA. That's the recommended action. And then the motion language that I propose to your board based on your board's discussion is essentially upholding the NOTA, but subject to these terms and conditions of allowing the property owner to self-abate within certain parameters, certain periods of time. And as part of that order, if those conditions are not satisfied, if those timelines are not met, for instance, then as part of the order, staff can then proceed with forwarding with the abatement processes and uphold the NOTA. So the upholding of the NOTA under the proposed language to your board, for your board's consideration, would be subject to those conditions of self-abatement.
And Chair, if I may continue, the reason I brought it up in the first place is now we're setting a 2-month. Do you get to extend past our 2 months if we said 2 months? Or if we just let it in your hands, you would be able to do what you feel is the right thing to do, which is why I'm thinking we just say deny the appeal and put it back in your hands and do what we ask you to do, which is to do the appropriate process with the property owners to get to where we need to be.
Supervisor Owen?
The only thing I want to add to that is I would be a little more lenient on the time to clean it up. And the reason why is we've got the rainy season coming in. I know we're supposed to have a pretty good storm. It looks like it's dirt in there. There's no pavement, so getting in and out with trucks may be an issue. So I hope there's some leniency in that aspect, because with the weather, it may not be able to happen as quickly as some would like.
Can you give that recommended motion where we're upholding the NOTA with the timeline and giving it over to code enforcement?
Yes, so that
Work with them to self-abate?
So that motion would be to uphold the NOTA and instruct staff to move forward with its abatement processes to remove the existing violations and to bring the property into compliance with the Lake County's code and zoning ordinance, subject to these following conditions. Number one would be to give the property owner 2 weeks to remove any abatement issues that pose a direct threat to health and safety. That would include electrical, and that would be one condition. And number two, allow the property owner would then have 2 months from today's date to perform full, complete self-abatement under the terms of the NOTA. If either one of those conditions are not satisfied, then as part of your board's order, your board may then proceed with upholding the NOTA and instruct staff to move forward with the abatement process as recommended.
Okay. And before I make that motion, just if there are unforeseen circumstances where the deadline may have to be pushed because of weather or whatever happens, does code enforcement have the ability to work with that deadline?
Yes, and as part of that process, it may need to be brought before your board.
That's fine.
For an amendment.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we are at 12:30. I know that we have a 1 o'clock. We still have something that has a time frame later at 3. So what do you recommend, CAO?
I would I would recommend going to lunch, but it's not a time certain at 3, and I can talk to the chair offline on.
Okay. Yes, we're going to take an hour still. We're still coming back at 1:30. See you then.
I mean, it's your item. It's your fault.
All right.
I should have brought a copy with me.
Welcome back from our lunch break. We'll go ahead and move on to our 6.8 public hearing. Adopt ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Lake County Code and adopting by reference the 2025 California Building Standards Code, known as the California Code of Regulations, Title 24. Do I read through it, Lloyd? Okay. Title 24, Part 1 through 6, 8 through 12, incorporating the 2025 edition of the California Administrative Code. Title 24, Part 1, the 2025 edition of the California Building Code. Title 24, Part 2, the 2025 edition of the California Residential Code. Title 24, Part 2.5, the 2025 edition of the California Electrical Code. Title 24, Part 3, the 2025 edition of the California Mechanical Code. Title 24, Part 4, 2025 edition of the California Plumbing Code. Title 24, Part 5, the 2025 edition of the California Historical Building Code. Title 24, Part 8, the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code. Title 24, Part 9, the 2025 edition of the California Existing Building Code. Title 24, Part 10, the 2025 edition of the California Green Building Code. Title 24, Part 11, the 2025 edition of the California Reference Standard Code. Title 24, Part 12, the 2025 edition of the California Wildland Urban Interface. Title 24, Part 7, the 2024 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code. Community Development Director, Ray Turner.
Thank you, Mireya Turner, Community Development Director. I am more than happy to turn this over to Chief Building Official Jack Smalley.
So a yes vote on all, right?
Good way to start.
I don't know if you guys have any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
I have one.
Yeah, just so we're clear, this is a regular update of the state codes that happens every 3 years. This year, there is Part 7, which is the Wildland Urban Interface that has been printed in its own version in Part 7. Those codes actually came from the existing residential code and the building code 7A. So they're really not new. There are some updates to them, but it's in its own book now. And these codes are set to go into effect January 1st. So no matter how it goes here, this is state law. It has to. We have to enforce them.
I realize it's state law, and it's not like we can really say no. I just was wondering if it's going to cause insurances to go up, or if it's going to make anything more difficult, or have any other financial burdens on anybody.
Well, with any California regulation that changes, all those scenarios are possible. But I do have to say, with the new WUI code, it is a little bit stricter than the 2 versions of the other codes. And if those are followed, and if Zone 0 comes out, then fire insurance could possibly be substantially smaller for the fire insurance. So that's the whole thing with the IBHS, the insurance thing. That's the whole reasoning behind that, was to try to get smaller.
To reduce it.
Yes.
Well, that's a good sign.
So.
Thank you.
Supervisor Spatier.
I think the fact that it took that long to read the title gives us an insight of the difficult process people have to go through to build in the state of California. There are so many things to pay attention to that you don't know unless you have somebody that you can approach at the window that knows what's going on, in order to make sure that we can build appropriately. Appreciate these being here. Not always a fan specifically, but we don't have a choice. So one thing that I would like to look at changing, and I did speak with Mr. Smalley about it, and I think we're in agreement on how it can be solved. On the 4th page, it's talking about fireworks, and it says, it's on 4F.2B1, where it says prohibition. It says the possession, manufacture, storage, sale, handling, exploding, and use of fireworks as defined in section 5.3K herein, which 5.3K is not within the document that we're looking at, but it is in our municipal code under definitions. And under definitions, safe and sane fireworks are part of the definition of fireworks. And so that, to me, complicates matters, because I don't want to approve something where we're saying it's illegal to possess something that is legal for you to possess, just not use. And so I've talked to Mr. Guintavano as well. I would love to say as defined in, and put the state code where it does kind of decipher what is safe and sane and what is not safe and sane, because I don't want to, again, put somebody, say yes to a rule that now basically states that, oh, don't worry, we're going to ignore the rule because you're allowed to have safe and sane, but we just made a rule that says that you're not. So I just would like to see if we can do the right thing, which is the state code, rather than our own definition that may have been from prior to 2022. I don't know when the last time was that we changed the definition of fireworks.
And I don't know when that definition was changed either. And safe and sane is only mentioned 3 times in the current and the new fire code. But I agree with you, Bruno. There does need to be a definition in the 1.4G and the 1.3G, because
which is the state fire code 1.3 and 1.4.
Yeah, 1.4G class fireworks are the safe and sane, the sparklers, the things like that. So, and if you look at it, there's not much difference in the wording of both of them. So putting that 1.4G, I think, in there somewhere, as the safe and sane fireworks would be important to me.
And would your suggestion be that where it says except for the following, that then it would state which one would be the exception to the rule?
Yes.
Because I also struggle with that because it says handling and exploding, and we know that it's anyways. I just wanted to bring it up. It's conflicting, and I would like to see if there's a way to deal with the conflict. My last comment, and it doesn't have to change today, but I do know that times are hard. We do want to try and make things as easy for businesses to start. And I know that it's not a hard and set fact that you have to have 10 acres in order to have agricultural buildings. Other counties do have less than 10 acres. I don't want to change anything today, but I would like to see if there is consent from the board to maybe look into this and maybe approach the groups that would be the best to approach, maybe the Ag Advisory Board, just to see if that's a possibility, because one of the most difficult aspects of being able to get into agriculture is the ability to purchase land. And saying if you want to access ag exempt buildings, you need to at least have the ability to purchase 10 acres versus 5 acres, I think potentially changes who can engage in our agricultural economy. And so that is my reason of offering, since it's right in front of us. I thought I'd bring it up.
I like it.
If there is board consensus, I would recommend making that a piece of the discussion when the board considers the agricultural element for the Lake County 2050 update later in 2026.
I am perfectly fine with that.
That's fine.
All right. Right. Did you have something? Anyone? I'll open it up for public comment. All right.
Yep, that's the property owner from our first appeal.
All right.
I came in for something else. I'm not sure. I was supposed to have been here at 11, and I think I kind of missed the boat, and you guys are talking about something completely different.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. We're on 6.8. That item was earlier.
Yes.
Follow
So
up
I
with
guess
the
I needed to
community
call that number to see where I stand, huh?
I think you would need to follow up with community development and call them or come visit them and go from there. But as for discussing it in this format, we're not going to do that.
I get that. Okay. All right. Goodbye. Good luck, you all.
Thank you. Betsy, if you'd like to unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Someone's just knocking on my door. What Bruno brought up is something that is of concern to me in many facets of their local ordinances that are contained in the municipal codes. Because we have changes that happen a lot, but I haven't been able to figure out how you translate those into actual changes in the municipal codes that are available to the public. There's a gap in there, and so it's one thing to make a decision to say, put that 1.4G in there, because I think it's important. It's another thing to ask, how does that happen? When does that happen? Who's in charge of making that happen? Because the public goes to those municipal codes, not to reports on the Board of Supervisors to find out what the rules are. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Well, I'm going to close public comment. Supervisor Sabatier.
Yeah, I believe we have gotten better at our process of updating the municipal code within the website that shows the municipal code. I'm wondering if you can describe maybe the potential timeline for when those get updated, if there are changes that we're being asked to approve.
We are in the process of getting Chapter 21, or the zoning code, added to the municipal code. So it won't be housed in two different places, and it will then also be updated and updated through Civic Plus, I think. I would defer to the administrative office regarding their timeline for the regular updates for all other chapters of the code.
sends the recent ordinances out actually this week to be codified with Civic Plus. It used to be done by Muni Code, but now it's done by Civic Plus. I think we do them twice a year. I'm not sure about the billing, but it's usually twice a year. I like lump all of them and they do like a supplemental run and then they upload them all. If that helps anybody.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we're at, someone needs to offer the ordinance, I think. Right, Lloyd, am I wrong?
Wondering if I can get comments back from the board on their thoughts of the conflict right now, where it basically says it's illegal to possess Safe and Sane, which we know Lakeport sells Safe and Sane. Just kind of curious if we're looking to amend that and fix it, or if we choose to ignore it.
I'd like to amend it.
Can I have another question on that, just so I understand? Because Lakeport does sell Safe and Sane. They're only legal to possess inside the city limits during the first 4 days of July.
Is it possession or
It's possession,
usage?
like if you're caught with them outside of July 4th, anything other than the 1st through the 4th, then it's illegal. That's my understanding.
When does the stands open up to sell them?
July 1st.
July
At
1st.
9 a.m. and it closes on July 4th. I'd have to go back and look at the ordinance, but that's my recollection of it, that you can't, it's not legal to possess after that day. So is that what you were thinking of the Lakeport ordinance?
I was just thinking that I think the state of California has rules on what is allowable for fireworks. Certain cities have banned fireworks. Certain cities and counties have chosen to allow them based on California law. I don't think it's illegal, and this is where county council needs to come in. I don't think it's illegal to possess. It's illegal to use in certain areas due to the fire threat.
And I thought it was illegal to possess them at any time in the county of Lake, from what, I mean, I'd have to look to, I don't want to say that I know that for a fact, but that's my recollection, that you can't possess fireworks of any kind within the county of Lake.
Lloyd?
Certainly that staff can look into that further. We've got the, under building regulations, you've got the definitions under Lake County Code Section 5.3. For fireworks, a definition of fireworks, which does include safe and sane labeled fireworks under the Lake County Code definition. Now, for purposes of the proposed ordinance that's before your board, I believe what is being suggested as far as a potential or possible amendment would be on page 4, under the subheading or subsection 4F.2B1, the clause that states as defined in section 5.3K, which I think references the Lake County Code. The proposed amendment would be to change that to state as defined in the California Fire Code, which may make it consistent. And that's for further clarification for your board.
Go ahead.
So, and maybe I was incorrect, and what Vice Chair is saying is correct. Maybe that was the intention of past boards, was to say it is illegal to possess any, which is still slightly awkward to me because anyways. And I maybe ask for a follow-up from County Council to look it up and see if what was the past intentions, just to see where we're starting from, and then go from there once we figure that out, because maybe I was incorrect and you were correct, Vice Chair, that was the case.
And either way, I think it would make sense to have it confirmed. I'd feel more comfortable. But if you're correct, then I'd be fine with it.
So we need clarification on what our current law is.
I'm sure Lakeport wants everybody, no matter where they are, to come and buy their fireworks, though. And use them only there.
I'm not sure where we're at.
So I'm okay with moving forward today as is, with the general concept that County Council will get back to us and let us know.
Okay. All right.
It does. State law will go into effect. Our ordinance will follow it.
It's Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it would consist of two motions. And just to confirm, no amendments to the ordinance as presented to your board for purposes of approval of first reading. The first motion would be the motion to approve the first reading of the ordinance to be read in title only.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
An ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Lake County Code and adopting by reference the 2025 California Building Standards Code, known as the California Code of Regulations, Title 24, Parts 1 through 6, 8 through 12, incorporating the 2025 edition of the California Administrative Code, Title 24, Part 1, the 2025 edition of the California Building Code, Title 24, Part 2, the 2025 edition of the California Residential Code, Title 24, Part 2.5. I think I'm on this line. The 2025 edition of the California Electrical Code, Title 24, Part 3. The 2025 edition of the California Mechanical Code, Title 24, Part 4. The 2025 edition of the California Plumbing Code, Title 24, Part 5. The 2025 edition of the California Energy Code, Title 24, Part 6. The 2025 edition of the California Historical Building Code, Title 24, Part 8. The 2025 edition of the California Fire Code, Title 24, Part 9. The 2025 edition of the California Existing Building Code, Title 24, Part 10. The 2025 edition of the California Green Building Code, Title 24, Part 11. The 2025 edition of the California Reference Standards Code, Title 24, Part 12. The 2025 edition of the California Wildland Urban Interface, Title 24, Part 7. And the 2024 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code. Hopefully I got them all.
Yes. Good job. Lloyd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the second motion would be a motion to approve that the draft ordinance be advanced to the next Board of Supervisors meeting for consideration and possible adoption.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I think it's now closed session time. I'll start reading those off. Okay. The guy on Trading Places now. All right. Public employee appointment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957B1. Interviews for Chief Public Defender, appointment for Chief Public Defender. 8.2, Conference with Labor Negotiator A, Chief Negotiator Susan Parker, County Negotiators Stephen Carter, Casey Moreno, Pam Samick, and Diana Rico. And B, Employee Organizations LCDSA and LCCOA. 8.3, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release. 8.4, Conference with Legal Counsel, Existing Litigation Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. FERC Proceeding Number P77, Potter Valley Hydroelectric Project. 8.5, Conference with Legal Counsel, Existing Litigation Pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. Sorensen versus Lake or County of Lake et al. And with that, we'll go into closed session. Thank you. All right, welcome back. Was there any action to be taken out of closed session?
Yes, Mr. Chair, there's going to be two actions. The first motion is I move to appoint Thomas Feimer as Chief Public Defender effective December 29th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chair, the second motion is I move to approve the settlement in Sorensen versus County of Lake ETAL CV 426173 in the amount of $15,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. With that, that covers everything on our agenda. I'd like to thank you for the year. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and we'll see you at our next meeting on January 6th, 2026. All right, adjourned.